To order. Roll call.
I'll go ahead and take roll. Mr. Treves,
Here.
Ms. Ross,
Here.
Ms. Neff, Mr. McCoy,
Here.
Mr. Pax. All right, well, we have 4 out of 5, and that is a quorum.
Okay. Anyone who intends to testify, please raise your right hand and be sworn. Do you solemnly swear? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say, I do. I do. And when you come up, state your name, your address, and that you've been sworn in. I have one other business order or whatever. If some of your neighbors or other participants have already made a comment, please don't make the same comment. Bring us something new. We're trying to hear everybody's comments, but we don't want to hear, you all had a blue 78 Chevy. I don't know. So, thank you very much.
And try not to talk over.
Yeah, that's the other thing. With this crowd this size, please don't have little conversations. You won't be able to hear us.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, members of the Board of Zoning Appeals. I wanted to give a little context that tonight we have one item of previous old business, which is the first case on the agenda, and then 3 items of new business. So we will be going forth in the order that is shown on the agenda. So going straight into variance case VACU 25-15. That was last heard before you 2 meetings ago. So this is a continuation from the July 17th, 2025 meeting. This is a variance and conditional use request, as the applicant is seeking a conditional use firstly from the Orange Township zoning resolution to allow for a place of worship, which will include a new 56 foot 3 inch by 141 foot 11 inch freestanding accessory building with assembly space. The assembly space is 4,727 square feet on a property with an existing place of worship, which was previously approved in 2023 under variance case VACU-23-10. Since the previous BZA hearing on July 17, 2025, the applicant submitted revised plans as shown in this report, and I will add the caveat that revised plans were submitted subsequent to the report, which we had received just a couple days, within the last couple days, and we did pass that along to the BZA, but I will try to distinguish the plans shown and reviewed in this report with the most recent plans from 2 days ago. All right, so there are, again, changes from the previous plans that you had reviewed in July. Essentially the structures that are existing on the property, which contain what used to be a residence and then 2 accessory dwellings, are all slated and planned to be removed. So that would leave a new structure, which is that 56 by 141 structure, as well as parking lot modifications and new drive aisles, in addition to a new retention pond that is shown on the site plan. So what that means is the request includes 2 variances from the Orange Township zoning resolution to allow for a place of worship on a lot smaller than 5 acres and to allow for a non-residential use to be closer than the minimum allowed distance from a residential district per section 2110. All right, the surrounding area, that includes zoning district. So to the north is planned commercial and office district, and planned commercial district is what we have to the north. The land use over there is the Olentangy Local School District offices and a U.S. Post Office. To the south, the zoning district includes multifamily planned residential district, and the land use is the Hidden Ravines condo residences. To the east, the zoning is planned commercial and office district, and then land use is toy box. Finally, to the west, multifamily planned residential district, and planned commercial office district. That's also to the west is land uses of Hidden Ravines condo and Healthy Pets veterinarian office. So for the history, the property was previously granted the conditional use in 1998 under case number 8641 for a home occupation. The use approved was for a physical fitness and training gym to be placed in the accessory building. In addition, the applicant obtained a conditional use from Section 7.04C of the Orange Township zoning resolution on May 18th, 2023 to allow for a place of worship under case number VACU-23-10. As part of that request, the applicant was also granted an area variance from Section 7.04C to allow for a place of worship on a lot smaller than 5 acres. The place of worship proposed is located at 350 East Orange Road and has an acreage of 3.35 acres, and that's currently zoned Farm Residential District. On February 29, 2024, a zoning permit for exterior modifications was approved to allow for the existing gravel parking area to be paved. Furthermore, a conditional use for a monument sign was granted on June 20th, 2024 under case number CU-24-15 and approved under zoning permit 2024-340. On July 17th, 2025, case number VA-CU-2515 was originally presented before the BZA requesting the new temple structure for assembly area and the 3 existing structures to remain with additional parking area proposed. The case was continued to the September 18th hearing, and the revised drawings were received on September 4th, 2025, shown in this report. Again, we'll get to the more recently updated drawings in a minute. So just a couple of photos from the aerial point of view. You can see at the off Orange Road and just east of US 23 is the location here. And then this is a 2024 aerial view showing the existing structures and parking area on site. Okay, so the staff review, at the time of that, the report released last week, staff had found 5 total area variances in addition to the conditional use. So you'll see them listed 1 through 5. Number 1 through 2 is requested by the applicant, and number 3 to 5 was identified by staff. So this is an area variance and conditional use from Section 7.04C of the Orange Township zoning resolution. Churches or other places of worship, provided they occupy a lot not less than 5 acres plus 1 acre for each 100 permanent seats, over 300 in the main assembly area. The proposed use for a place of worship requires a conditional use granted by the Board of Zoning Appeals, as outlined in Section 7 of the Orange Township zoning resolution. As notated above, the applicant was previously granted an area variance from Section 7.04C to allow for a place of worship on a lot smaller than 5 acres under case number VACU 23-10, approved May 18, 2023. The proposed site has a total acreage of 3.35 acres. In the application, the applicant notes that an occupancy of about 400 people is planned, while according to the applicant, the current facility accommodates 150 people. No additional acreage is required for the number of seats, but the property does not meet the minimum acreage requirement of 5 acres and requires an area variance. Parcels of the proposed place of worship is 1.65 acres smaller than the required 5 acres. This is a roughly 33% variance request. For area variance number 2, that is from Section 21.10, which states in part the following requirements for non-residential uses abutting residential districts. Non-residential buildings or uses except parking shall not be located nor conducted closer than 100 feet to any lot line of a residential district. Such 100 feet area shall include at or near its perimeter acceptable landscaping or screening as approved in the planned district or development, or in the case of the property located outside a planned district as approved by the zoning inspector. The residential district near the property is the Hidden Ravines multifamily planned residential district to the west. The closest residential parcel in this district is roughly 65 feet from the new accessory building to be used as a place of worship, exceeding this requirement. Therefore, the new accessory structure will be located 35 feet closer to the residential district than as required by Section 21.10. This is a roughly 35% variance request. And so I will still go through the remaining variances. However, the applicant will also be able to elaborate how the plans have been updated and how these variances have been remedied from a cursory review by staff. So area variance number 3, 21.01A, parking dimensions. All parking spaces shall be not less than 9 feet wide and 20 feet long. Such spaces shall be measured rectangularly and served by aisleways of sufficient width to permit easy and smooth access to all parking spaces. As shown in Exhibit 8, the smallest parking spaces proposed will be a minimum of 18 feet 1/4 inches in length and 8 feet 6 3/4 inches in width. So that's both of those dimensions is smaller than the requirement. Note the applicant was informed of these variances on September 9th, 2025. However, at the time of the staff report on 9/11/2025, the revisions had not yet been received. For area variance number 4, that's from section 21.01E, required off-street parking. For use, a church or place of public assembly, required parking spaces is 1 for each 3 seats or 1 for each 45 square feet of assembly area, whichever is greater. As shown in the revised site plan in Exhibit 1, there are 99 spaces being proposed. What we have, I will note for the BZA, what we have seen on the cursory review, the count is, I think, 108. I will have to double check that. Yes, 108, and the applicant will also be able to take you through that revised site plan. Okay, so we will move right along to the 5th variance that staff had found, which appears to be remedied by the revised plans. All right, area variance from section 21.05A, which states in part the following requirements for water impoundments. So water impoundments such as ponds, lakes, or swimming pools shall be constructed and developed in compliance with the following standards. Except adjacent to US 23, no impoundment shall be located closer than 25 feet to the right-of-way of any adjacent improved road. No impoundment shall be located closer than 50 feet to the right-of-way of US 23. So again, in the previous version, the version, I guess it'd be 2 submissions ago, the applicant had shown that the proposed pond, the retention area, would be 2 feet 8 inches from the edge of Orange Road right-of-way, so that was encroachment of 22 feet and 4 inches. We had not closely looked at it. However, the applicant's revised plans, the most recent submission shows 25 feet separation from the edge of the new detention area to the edge of Orange Road. So, all right, we have a couple exhibits as mentioned. The first, so that I should say, exhibit number 1, that is the 2 versions ago as submitted on 9/4/2025. And then the next exhibit is the location of the temple is shown on the most current site plan as 65 feet and 1/2 inches away from that western property line, which is a residential district. So that variance, that is still a variance that is needed and a consideration for you tonight. And this is provided by the applicant. Again, this is not the most recent site plan, but the one we have in the report. The existing layout to the left, and then the site plan as of 9/11/2025, with, again, some modifications to the parking areas as well. And then that Exhibit 4, the location, I should say, the size of the detention area appears to be about the same, but it has been moved back 25 feet away from the right-of-way. You see that in the top left corner, the northwest corner. And then all of the building renderings are the same as what is shown in Exhibit 5. The floor plan remains the same as shown in Exhibit 6. And I pointed out earlier, but that's 4,727 square feet of assembly area as shown on the floor plan. Again, this is the earlier measurement from Exhibit 7, but you will see a 25-foot label on the most recent site plan for the water impoundment. and we did not have a chance to measure parking space for the most recent site plan, but in general, they appear to be in conformance with the size requirements. So that's from the older site plan. And then these are the original site photos, which we made a couple updates to. We just noted that all of the buildings as shown on site are planned to be taken down, demolished. So that is a difference from the original proposal. The last site photo, number 7, that shows the entrance and current parking area, and the retaining pond would be planned to be added along the right side tree line for your reference. For the technical agency review, the Orange Township Fire Department indicated that the site circulation of the new parking area, along with building proximity to fire hydrants, would need to be reviewed and approved. I have not received any letters or correspondence stating that the Orange Township Fire Department has approved or completed a full review of the plans. My understanding, and the applicant can clarify, is that it will be subject to some additional engineering type drawings from the applicant, so a full review could be completed, but again, I will leave that to the applicant to fully clarify. And then the last section is the board analysis. This is applicable to case VAC 25-15 and criteria for an area variance. So we have all 5 variance requests listed out. Like we stated, it does appear in general that variance number 1 and 2 are the only ones that are needed. So we'll allow the applicant to further elaborate on their most recent submitted plans from, I believe that was on Tuesday. If you have any questions at this time, I'd be more than happy to try and answer those. Thank you.
Anyone have questions for Eric?
Not yet.
Okay. Would the applicants like to say something?
Pardon me, Mr. Trevitz, since
Yeah.
Mr. Pax has arrived, so that way it's clear on the record, I just want to note that Mr. Pax arrived after the roll call, but is present and will be participating. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name and your address and that you've been sworn in.
My name is Karthik Avadanula. My address is 1510 Cottonwood Drive, and I have been sworn in.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Anil Tangerala. I'm at 5515 Luddington Drive, and I've been sworn in as well.
Thank you.
It's anonymous, and I guess I'm supposed to say that I have not been sworn in.
You haven't?
Have not yet.
Okay. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, state, I do. And then give your name and
Anonymous, address.
into the microphone, please.
350 Kenyon Drive South, Columbus, Ohio, 43214.
Okay.
We like to thank you first for the opportunity and providing the opportunity for resubmitting the application. And we want to sincerely thank the neighbors who have provided their comments and given us an opportunity to really digest and resubmit our application. We have really heard them, and we thank them for their wonderful comments. I want to clarify a few things. First, I am a volunteer with the temple. I do not own the property. I am not the property owner, because I have seen the written comments provided by some of the neighbors, and there is a miscommunication that I might have been confused with the owner of the property. I'm just representing them. I'm on their temple management committee, so I'm representing them. And we have our architect and Anna, and the engineer, Anil represents our engineer. And we have a presentation, short presentation, that we want to show as to what has changed, and we want to reiterate our intent here. So if you move to the first slide. Just to reiterate, we are a very unique spiritual, cultural, and religious place that is very unique in the state of Ohio. Our name is Sri Bhaktanjanaya Temple of Ohio, not Central Ohio or not anything else. It's primarily because our temple provides a very unique opportunity for their devotees to come and be able to go around the deity. And that is very unique, and which is why we see many of our devotees come from all over Ohio to come and practice. And second, we started the temple 2 years ago. In May 2023, we got the approval with a temporary structure with an occupancy permit of 150. The current situation is on the most busy day of the week, which is Saturday. We typically see about 50 to 150 people walking in, and this is not all at one time. We never have folks coming in all at one time. It's all on rolling basis. And there are 2 times in the year, once in spring and once in fall, where we have our annual events, and that is when we see about 300 to 400 folks throughout the day, but it's also on rolling basis, never one time. We never had a backup of cars in the last 2 years. And about 3 weeks ago, we had our annual event, and the parking was very well managed. We actually had a person and their team. They were specialized in parking, and they helped us with all the parking around the property, and has not seen any issues with any backup. Wanted to clarify that. And we also want to clarify that throughout the year, every day, the temple closes by 9 p.m. And given that, we wanted to provide a reason why, the intent why we are trying to do this is primarily safety. The current structure is temporary. It was not built for any visitors like this, and it does not even have a foundation. So the safety is the reason, and it is not suitable for a long-term operation. That's why we want to build a sound new building. And the current structure also is too close to the eastern property boundary, and the new building structure that we want to build is more central to the property. And the current property is only 200 feet wide. Having a 100-foot setback on either sides will make this property unusable. Anything that you want to add?
Not on this slide. I
Okay.
just wanted to introduce myself again. I think Neil again, but I'm a volunteer as well, and I am a professional engineer in Ohio, and I think I'm leading the building activities for the temple. And today, the drawings that we're going to discuss today, we have architect and we have hired an engineer as well who has developed these plans that we're going to talk about.
So we want to say we really heard our neighbors, and we modified our plans to meet all of their concerns from last time. We hired engineers, BG Engineering, and thoroughly addressed the stormwater issue. That was one of the main point. While we did not need to do that for the zoning permit, we could have done that afterwards. We went ahead and hired and spent money to get these drawings. on the underground. There is an underground collection system, as you can see, that drains into a detention basin northwest of the property, and the detention pond connects to the East Orange Road storm sewer, county storm sewer. The engineers have coordinated this plan with the county for the storm sewer calculation. Anything to add?
Yeah, so on the stormwater management, I know there was concerns, in general, if you look at the site, the site pretty much, right now is sitting low below Orange Road and drains to the south. But, I think with these proposed changes that we're recommending, the engineer went in and did some proposed grading, and he was able to size the storm infrastructure that basically drains back to Orange Road. Obviously, the engineer is following typical regulations for Delaware County. They're familiar with some of the stormwater management regulations, and they've done all the calculations that are typical for the site, where they detain for anything that's, with the impervious area that's pre-developed versus post-developed. They look at that and then figure out how much detention is needed. So that's been incorporated in the site. The other couple points I want to add is, our building footprint area has actually reduced from the previous plan. We're now demolishing or proposing to demolish a few structures, where our net increase in impervious area has actually gone down. So we don't need as much detention as we used to previously, as previously proposed. And then we're also preserving a lot of green space on the site, especially on the west side of the new building. We're not really, previously we used to have parking in that area. That parking has since been removed, and we're preserving all the trees and the natural green space over there. So there's the natural evapotranspiration infiltration that would occur on the site that would help with the overall stormwater management goals. So I think, Karthik mentioned this, but I think the engineer basically went through all the calcs. They have coordinated with the county. We've talked about our options of whether we have detention on the south side of the lot and the north side of the lot. And I think in the best interest of all the comments we've received previously and what's best for us, we feel like this plan is the most optimal for us to be able to move forward with the stormwater management of the site. I think the engineers also kind of certified that there's no net increase in stormwater management flows from the site, and I would say there's no adverse impacts with respect to stormwater to any of the neighbors as we stand right now.
And given that all of the impervious area, today, the entire property, as majority of the property drains south, so towards the neighbors. And with this, all the impervious area draining, we are building towards, grading and building it towards the north. It is far better than the current situation for any stormwater. Going to the next one, we have, as Anil mentioned, we have reduced the overall footprint. We are proposing to raise all three structures that are currently on the site and build one single structure with. Oh, if you want to go back. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we are building only one structure that is about 7,983 square feet. And one thing I want to definitely mention is that the height of the structure is 18 feet. The topmost height of the structure is 18 feet. For reference, a two-story single-family home is about 35 feet. So this is half the size of a two-story single-family home. And we have mature trees of 65-foot coverage on the west side, almost 200 feet on the south side, and a significant portion on the east side. So from all three sides, there is significant tree coverage of mature trees, and with just the height of the property being only 18 feet, they should not even be visible from neighboring properties for most part. And we removed we heard the previous comments about lights because of parking on the west side, and we have removed all parking on the west side of the building and accommodated the exact parking needed for, about 106 is what we have on our number, but if your calculation is 108,
Yep.
there might be some confusion about 106 and 108 parking spaces, because this includes ADA parking, and this was done by the architect. So, and 106 park, we need about 105 parking spots for 299 spaces that we are asking. 299 spaces of
Yeah, that-
congregation.
That's one change we've requested, as well as, I think right now our occupancy permit, I think we're asking for 299 and not 400.
Not 400. We are asking for an occupancy permit of 299.
That's the number of people or the number of parking spaces?
Number of people.
People.
So
Okay.
occupancy permit of 300 requires 105 parking spaces, and we have 106. That is what we are requesting. That is what we wanted to clarify.
Okay.
And anything else to add here? Sure. And I wanted to really double click on this comment that we are preserving the tree structures all across the boundary of the property on all three sides. So that is a 65-foot tree coverage of mature trees. As you can see on the picture there, this was taken just 2 days ago on Google Maps, providing screening on all three sides, and the height of the structure, as I mentioned, is only 18 feet. So this should not even be visible from all the three sides. Now coming to, there was a comment on the parking and number of people and all of that. This is what Google shows us on. So this is the rolling base attendance peak times at the temple today. You see Saturday is our peak time, and for reference we have provided what does Google show, same for the same thing for Saturdays at the post office right across the road. The post office right across the road has higher attendance than our highest attendance day of Saturday, as you can see.
What is the y-axis for these?
So Google does not share, even with business account, it does not share the exact numbers, but they mention that the y-axis is the same on all of them. So they don't want to show the exact numbers.
Where is this data coming from? I know you said Google, but
Yeah, so if you go to Google Maps, just on the address, if you put the address for USPS, for example, on Orange Road, just below on the left side, you can see the peak timings.
the traffic.
The
So
traffic.
So
peak
it's like
timings.
traffic count.
It's a
Okay.
peak timings attendance. And this is what it shows for our temple. And as you can see, Saturday and Tuesday evening are busy times, and Saturday morning is the busy time for us. We do not impact any school timings. We do not impact any busy business hour timings. It's Saturday morning. And one thing to note here is that typically Saturday mornings are one of the slowest times for businesses in the township, in any region. It is only the neighbors in the region that are shopping in the neighborhood, whereas having this temple gives an opportunity for, because we are a unique temple that attracts people from all over, we believe we are providing an economic value to the township by attracting these people on a non-busy day for the businesses around us. Any questions? Anything to add? And in conclusion, we believe the new structure it ensures our safety for ourselves and our devotees. It provides justice to both our neighbors. It meets all the community needs, and it addresses all the previously provided feedback. And we are requesting only 2 variances. That is continuance of the variance from previous time of minimum acreage requirement and a new variance for 100-foot setback to 65 foot on the west side and 85 foot on the east side, 83 feet on the east side. And just to note that the updated plans for the other 3 variances that were mentioned by the staff were provided on 9/11, 7:30 p.m. So about a couple of hours after. So we took a couple of days to respond to those comments that we received on 9/9. So as mentioned, we are all volunteers. So we took a couple of hours more than required to get back with the updated plans. Otherwise, we would have the new plans, and those 3, we believe the 3 variances that you see, number 3 to 5, would not be on this report.
Okay, thank you. Question?
Yeah, that is all. Anything else to add?
I guess just a general comment to say that these changes were initiated by the neighbors, and we try to show, be more responsive to everything that we heard here in the last meeting. So, like the headlights flashing and highlighting into the neighborhood, we're hoping that this issue has been eliminated. Stormwater going from the south to the north, that shouldn't be an issue anymore. So we just try to be responsive and respectful to the neighbors.
Any questions for us?
I have a question on parking. Is that now? Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Just on the site plan, parking particularly. I'm looking at your plan. I don't know which one. I'm looking at exhibit number 2. I don't know if you can pull that up or not. So I'm just trying to make sure I fully understand the counts. So that area to the north, that is your current gravel parking lot?
Yes, that can be used as overflow parking if needed. That gravel we are not utilizing yet
So,
in this plan. So we have more space for parking if needed, but we don't intend to pave it because we want to retain as much as pervious surface. We don't want to make it impervious also.
okay. So I appreciate that for the storm drainage standpoint, that you're keeping it pervious. But that, you're not including those within your calculations? That's correct?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that is correct. We're not including the 106 or 107
Yes,
parking spaces.
we are not.
Does
We are
not
not.
include the gravel.
Okay.
So it can provide additional parking.
I also see that you've included a 39.1 turning radius for the Orange Township Fire Department in there. The plan has been reviewed by your engineer or your designer on that?
So we had the civil engineer involved. So the missing parts for the fire department are basically the location of the fire hydrant, which, you know, it's gonna be located later when we get this approval and move forward with the project. Now, in my opinion, it wasn't hindering, it shouldn't hopefully hinder the zoning approval.
No, yeah, the fire hydrant probably wouldn't on that regard. This more just general on the viability of the plan in itself from the strategy on the parking is what I'm trying to get to, even from an overall perspective. I see one light pole that's there in the center, but the main thing was just in understanding at least that you've accounted for that, but I'm doing my counts myself, and I'm coming up with 98 spaces. So you have double parking up there in the top. Is that
Yeah,
what's
so
going on?
one thing, so from the plan that you're looking at, the change that came for us kind of late was the location of the storm basin.
Mhm.
It was too close to those northeast northwest, parking spaces. So we kind of shifted, realigned everything. So there was a slight difference where we, on the east side of the building, we added more parking spaces going all the way along the building. And just kind of rotated it so it wasn't encroaching onto the setbacks, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Yeah, I think on my counts where I'm realizing was the double park. I just saw that up there in the northeast corner of the parking lot. So that's 6 additional spaces.
Yeah, I don't think, and I think we've had this conversation with staff, the staff isn't counting the double parking, so we're still meeting the 107 without counting double
Without
parking
counting those?
spaces.
yeah, we were told that the double stacking the parking lot was not acceptable, so we just counted that as a one
As
space.
one space.
Thank you.
Philip, if you wouldn't mind going to the files, there is the submission, the most recent submission is from 9/16/2025. It says updated drawings 9/16. That would probably be most useful for everyone to refer to. And I just, if I hadn't made it clear previously, I wanted to add the statement that the BZA, typically they get drawings about a week or so in advance. These drawings being fielded 2 days ago did not give the BZA a sufficient amount of time to do a full review and run off the numbers and look closely at it. In the same regard for staff, typically we need to get things a little bit sooner to do a full review. So I just wanted to make that clear, and that's why the BZA is asking these questions, I believe.
And we sincerely apologize for the delay.
And the parking spaces on your plan all meet our regulations? None of them are reduced in size?
From the cursory review that I was able to do, I ran off a few numbers in the time that I had, and I didn't see any spaces that were smaller than the 9 by 20 foot dimensions. Compared to when the staff report was released, those were the plans submitted on, I believe, 9/4, and those had several parking spaces that were too small in size, which we informed the applicant of, and they did make, from what we could tell in the short review, that they did make those changes appropriately.
But you've just done a cursory review?
Correct. We haven't measured
So we
every
don't really
single-
have that
yeah.
information for sure.
Yeah. Would
like-
appear, though.
Like to ask the applicant, you said you've revised your occupancy to 299 from the 400. What happens if one of your festivals draws more than 299 people?
As mentioned, it's on a rolling basis. We never see more than 100, 150 at any point of time in the entire day. And typically our festivals are only twice a year, and once in the fall, once in the spring. And both days, as I said, we don't see that, we don't believe we will see that again. I want to mention that our population of the temple attendees don't increase dramatically just because we have built a bigger place, because it depends on the existing population, and the growth of the population is tied to the GDP. So typically you will see, if at all it grows at maybe 2% or less in terms of year-over-year population attendance.
It is a concern to me to go from 400 to 299 in order to get your parking onto the site. So that is a concern.
And I also wanted to clarify that occupancy doesn't dictate the parking, so if...
It's square footage?
So it is based on the 45 square feet for the
Okay.
assembly area, and I believe the applicant stated, but our calculation would be the same, because the square footage is the same as shown in the staff report. It would require 105 spaces, and from our, again, our fairly straightforward, quick review, we got 108 spaces. That's the count we achieved, so they would be meeting it by virtue of that. Mhm. Yep.
Thanks for that clarification.
Yep.
And I have a quick question for you, Eric.
Mhm.
With this being a flat roof, in the past, we've had applicants come before us for us to approve a variance for a flat roof. But we don't have to do this in this case?
Yeah, I don't know what the standard would be that we would be referring to in the FR1 district. I don't think they have the 612 listed in that
Okay.
section.
That's-
That was a commercial plant district. I think I know what you're referring to.
McDonald's.
And I don't believe that there's
That's
any
correct.
restriction
Yep.
in
Thank you.
FR1 that requires a flat district, or
Okay.
a flat roof.
Great, I just
That's a
wanted to
good
clarify
question.
that. And the trees, the tree line, you said that you're keeping most of that. Are those deciduous trees that lose their leaves, or are those fir trees that maintain a?
It's a mix. It's a mix of deciduous trees and evergreen trees.
And I think, Eric, you had some pictures.
There are those in the staff report. Don't
It's
mean
very
to-
difficult to tell on a color photograph. Do they,
Thanks to Philip to flipping around to the staff report.
Yeah.
okay. I think that's all I had.
I have a question about the retention pond.
That's good.
I know you've moved it back 25 feet, but you're still hugging the western border, right? Isn't there a setback there
The setback for the water impoundments is from the right-of-way.
from the
So,
right-of-way
correct.
only? Okay.
Correct.
And how much water is going to be retained in that pond?
Well, it's a good question, but engineer definitely has the calculations and has that number, but I just don't remember that on top of my head. But usually the way it works is we have calculations where we look at the pre-impervious area, post-impervious area, and determine what's needed for the county. Department, the county engineer has regulations of detailing what's called a 100-year post to a 10-year pre. 10 years, so basically we're detaining the runoff from a 100-year post-development down to a 10-year pre-development. So we're making it better for
So-
that storm, but further.
So how deep is it at the
I think last time, when I saw the calculations was 3 feet,
3 feet
Yeah.
out of 5?
correct. There is an outlet structure, as you can see, that's the engineer's plan. So all these calculations have been performed by the engineer.
And this doesn't require a
Six.
fence?
It's 6.
No, typically it doesn't. I mean,
Yeah, a swimming pool would be a different definition, and
Yeah, I
that
know.
does require a fully enclosed fence around or wall, but this is not defined as a swimming pool.
No, and I would hope it wouldn't be defined as a swimming pool, but still, you've got a very steep embankment, and you've got 3 feet of water in there. That sounds a little,
Well, I think what we're dealing with is basically, it's more of a channel, I would say like a ditch that carries 3 feet of flow, but it's got an outlet structure that regulates the water over there. And what we're talking about is that's during the worst case scenario in the entire,
then how far above the bottom of the retention pond is the bottom of the outlet?
could we pull up like zoom into the retaining pond there? All the elevations. Mine right there.
Or if it's at 941.
Okay, it's 940. On the outside.
Yeah, as I'm looking at that, 948 is the top, then the bottom is noted at 942,
942 is.
942, so that's 6 feet. Then I see the orifice opening noted at 941, so that's the opening into your storm structure. Okay,
It's at the bottom, and then it connects to the storm system.
so it's slightly lower, obviously, than your bottom of your retention pond there.
So
basically.
there really shouldn't be any water standing in it.
No,
Right.
no, it should be free flow, but, you know, as the water drains, it needs to
It,
back up.
it is a retention rather than a detention pond.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to determine.
Board, I have a question as well, if I may. And I recognize there are multiple photos and diagrams, and I just want to make sure I'm looking at this correctly. I'll direct you to Exhibit 2 in the staff report, where in red, it identifies that the distance from I believe it's the western property line to the edge of the parking lot area to be about 14 feet and 7 inches. And in looking at Exhibit 4, with respect to the detention pond, and I recognize the detention pond has moved south, the detention pond from the property line to the edge of the western property line to the eastern edge of the detention pond is 20 feet 2 inches. And there's no dimensions on Exhibit 4 that reflect where the parking lot would be, but just, it appears that there could be a scenario where the parking lot extends into the detention pond, if that makes sense.
And with that, that's why, the layout that you're looking at from the civil engineer was, we received late, and therefore, our latest submission came a few hours after the deadline.
Okay.
So that accommodated the revisions that you.
Does,
Would you
That's a
identify
very good
yourself?
point, though.
pardon?
Would you identify yourself?
Oh, yes. Julie Donnan, attorney for Orange Township, Burgess, Johnson & Griggs, 1001 South Cassingham. I have not been sworn in, but I'm legal counsel and not required to be, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good call.
Yeah, I do notice on the plans, Julie, from 916, that there's a label with the dotted line for 25-foot side setback, and the location of the parking lot is just outside of that 25 feet.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
Yes, we have updated that as part of the latest plan.
okay.
Where
So in the
is that?
updated submission, that is not.
That's what I'm just noticing, yep.
Wonderful, okay.
Okay. This one, looking at the right one.
Any questions?
No,
You good right now?
I can't see a tiny.
Yeah, I can't tell which one, if I'm looking at the right one.
Eric, what does the, you explained it a little bit, but what does the late submission of the drawings, what's the byproduct of that for us tonight?
Well, certainly we do our best to pass along revisions as they're received, so that's what we did in this case. When you don't have enough lead time, it's the same, I think, with any of our boards. It complicates things from a board review perspective because it would put more of a emphasis on doing revisions more in the meeting proper, which is challenging. So that's why it's ideal, I guess, if staff can have a chance to review, can incorporate in the staff report, and that can be disseminated about a week in advance. That's usually our time frame for sharing the report with you all, because that gives you time to process and again, do a detailed review. So in this case, that wasn't something that could be done because of the timing of the revisions received the week of.
Are there any rules associated with that are in place?
No zoning rules per se about precisely how soon continued meeting revisions would need to be received. They could be even brought to the meeting itself, but again, it doesn't give you an opportunity as a board to do a complete and thorough review.
So if we look to make a motion tonight, the motion contains calculations. Are you guys going to do those on the fly?
Well, I mean, we've done a cursory review of the parking, but it isn't as thorough as what we would if we had revisions received early in the week prior.
Okay.
So I would think ultimately legal might give a suggestion potentially about how we would want to handle that, but I can say we have only done a brief review, not a thorough review, as we would if the plans were received over a week in advance.
Yeah, in terms of options, the board could continue the application and continue the hearing in order to provide staff with time to provide you with updated feedback. Obviously, you have a room full of people. And so one option could be to continue, obviously you could continue with the hearing to receive the testimony that everyone has to say, and then continue to provide staff with the opportunity to fully review and update the staff report, and then meet back at another date.
Yeah, because my concern is you and everybody that came here tonight, it's understandable you took time out of your schedule to come to a scheduled meeting about this variance request. And maybe it's my speculative concern that you're making comment and testifying or giving your opinion about something that's not clear, because I'm not clear on what the final product is here. It's been explained to an extent. It's been described. Numbers have been thrown out. And it's hard enough to see that. I'm holding up an 8.5 by 11 document that is a drawing of a 3+ acre parcel with dimensions on it. It's really hard to see that that I got 2 days ago, and I've been in class for 2 days I've been up since 4:15 this morning. That's no excuse, because that's my problem. The whole point of my talk here is I want to be very clear on what I'm making a decision on based on what drawing I'm looking at and what numbers I'm looking at. And I think it would be not right for me to say yes or no on variances until I knew exactly this is what we're asking for, and here it is to show you what we're asking for. That way, people making comment on what's being asked for, they've got what I've got what they have, and we're not making a bunch of comments about other speculative drawings that are sitting out there and dimensions. And somebody can correct me if I'm completely off base here and wrong, that I'm supposed to have something that I don't have. And you did send them to me, Eric.
We just didn't print them out.
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah.
and even some of the prints is,
It's hard to see.
it's difficult. I'm getting older. I can't see with these, I can't see without them. And I'm trying to understand parking spaces and dimensions and calculations and things like that. And I just don't think there's enough information here for me to say yes or no on these things. And that's my comment right now.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that, Mr. McCoy. I think that for me, I've got notes all over the wrong plan. I was looking at the wrong plan. And so my calculations on the parking areas, flows, dimensions that council brought up, legal counsel brought up, all of that is confusing me. So I agree and concur. I think if we could just have a little clearer package to understand and then evaluate, it's going to be helpful. I agree.
And I said what I said, understanding that that's an inconvenience for a lot of people in this room, including counsel that's been hired, that's, I'm sure, not here for free.
So I believe the board has a couple of options. I think that the board is suggesting to the applicant it may be helpful to request a continuance. However, I think that the question the board has to ask is, do you want to continue at this point or permit the public to testify on these not updated materials. What I would say is it's not a situation where you can let a few people speak and not others. It would be a all or nothing type situation.
Well, actually, what we have in front of us is what we have.
Correct.
And that's what the people in the audience have been provided, and I believe they have a right to speak tonight to what they've been provided. And then if we continue to another date to make a decision, then they can have a copy of the new plans, and they can come up with new comments. But I believe that what they have in front of them and what we have in front of them is what we need to discuss this evening, not what they've presented since we received this packet.
But should we let them know should we make a decision if we're going to continue to let them know their comments are based on something that is not what we're going to vote on?
Oh,
They have to ask for the continuance, is that correct?
This is true.
So we either have a continuance, or we hear other testimony and then make a decision based upon what we have here.
or we listen to the comments from the public
Well, that's why I was saying.
before it's continued.
Before it's continued, yeah.
I guess one question. So if you're voting today, you're voting on the plan that's not up to date.
Right.
That's correct.
Clearly, that's not the layout, just like the attorney mentioned, that's gonna overlap the retention basement. So that's just not gonna work. How, if, let's say, best case scenario, it's approved, how do we go about the changes to the layout? Do we go back? Are we back here in a month again?
I mean, I think what you're hearing from the board is we're not comfortable moving forward with what we have in front of us. So it does not sound like anything would be approved based on if you asked us to vote.
And what happens, even if the final layout, what happens if we have changes?
After it's been
Yes.
approved and you continue to make changes?
So what would happen is if you were to make changes to whatever, if a plan is approved and you were to want to make changes to that plan, if those plans required an additional variance, you would have to come back to this board. If you made plans that were consistent with the zoning district, you would not have to come back to the
Okay,
board.
I just wanted to know
Sense.
Yeah.
for future.
That makes sense.
Eric, I have one question for you. The original approval of a place of worship was based on 150, and it was based on how many square feet of the building that you're currently using?
I believe that's the 13, let's see.
I wanted to do both because I know the square feet or the population.
Oh, I believe actually that is referring to the existing structure that the applicant described as 40 by 60.
So 40 by 60, 242,400 square feet. And the new building is almost 8,000 square feet.
Yeah, but from what I recall of those previous plans, the entirety of that previous or existing structure was assembly area, and in this case, 4,727 square feet is assembly area.
Well, the reason I'm asking, we approved 4,700 or whatever it is, and we gave them a variance from 5 acres down to 3, whatever it is for the land. Now, they've jumped from 47 up to 8,000.
About 2,400, I
Oh,
think. from the original.
2,400
Yep,
to, yeah.
Correct.
So that's a sizable jump. And now it's the same 3-acre whatever, and we have to add an acre because anything over, okay, help, 300 is it? And see, they're below that, so we wouldn't add the acre.
and also, staff didn't take the seats into account because this isn't an establishment that has seating, so it is strictly based on the square footage of the assembly area. And so there wouldn't be any additional requirement for parking in this case, or acreage that I'm aware of. So that acreage is the 3.35, which is obviously less than 5 acre in size.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to understand that before we moved. Applicants, what is your decision at this point?
Residents.
And what are we going to do about the public?
Well, I gotta know what they want to do first.
We don't get to decide that.
I do have a question for legal counsel.
Yeah.
If they decide right now to continue it, does that close off public comment?
It's up to the board if they request a continuance, whether or not to proceed with public
Okay,
comment.
I just wanted to make sure timing didn't prevent the public from speaking.
Did you understand that?
Thank you.
Sorry.
If you accept or request a continuance, we can still hear all the public comments of the people that are in the room. And then you would have that information to go on to the continuance. As I state that correctly?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, we accept continuance.
Okay. The party is asking for a continuance to get us good documentation and the real plan that you almost have, or had
But didn't
too,
submit. in
too
time.
late for our process. Is there a motion to grant the continuance?
Do you want the motion now?
So I suppose that's a question for the board. Do you want to continue the hearing at this point? Or do you want to permit public feedback
So we
on
would have
the
to
plan that will
open
be
comment
outdated?
before
Yeah.
we
I,
were-
I believe we should receive testimony from the public on the plan that's before us. And-
Applicants, please have a seat. We will proceed with the the public comment.
But please know that we are continuing this.
Yeah.
And so we're not going to vote on it tonight. And what you have is not the final version. So be it.
So remember to please state your name, your address, and whether you've been sworn.
My name is Melanie Moore. I live at 5780 Plank Drive, Hilliard, Ohio. I've been sworn in.
Okay, thank you.
I believe this facility is a blessing to the community.
Okay, you're
My
gonna have
family
to,
comes from Dublin and Hilliard to this unique temple. It's unique for a lot of reasons, but it's extremely traditional. That's the main reason that we come. Devotees of other temples will travel to get that unique experience that you get here. I mentioned last time, when they say the numbers, this is not a meeting where everyone shows up at 10 and everyone leaves at 1. It really is a come and go situation. My family travels kind of far, so we stay the whole time, but even though we stay till the very end, we have never waited to like get out or get in of this facility. Because the way that we exit, you're accepting gifts. one at a time on the way out. You're accepting blessings, basically. So these blessings we actually bring to the temple. We need to bring fresh flowers and fruits, milk, honey. They're all for God. And we definitely need to stop at your grocery store to get these things. We stop at your ATMs. We go to your coffee shops. I believe that that alone is a blessing. I did find out recently they are not even filed as a tax-exempt organization, so they pay full taxes. I believe that's a good benefit to the community. And they are really good neighbors. They are ready to listen to any concerns. I think ongoing, this wouldn't be something that's decided today and they wouldn't listen again. A pillar of the Hindu community would be karma. I think everybody's pretty familiar with that, but it's being good with everything. Being good with government, being good with the community, being good with your neighbors. It's really an important part of the belief. So I feel that they would be a good blessing. Sorry, I'm super nervous and been standing a long time. They have a deep reverence for all living things, good neighbors that are giving and kind. And it is definitely on a Saturday morning or a Tuesday evening, which doesn't seem to be a very busy time. Like I said, we don't have half the trouble getting to this area as I did tonight, which takes about 45 minutes, but it's usually a little easier. But I really do feel that they would be a blessing to the community, and as I think they've shown, they really listened to everything that the neighbors have said and made accommodations. So thank you.
Thank you. Sir?
And can we just remind folks, please, in the audience, when you talk, it's hard for us to hear, so please keep the conversations
And you're
down.
welcome to grab the microphone so that can be a little bit more audible that way. Here, I'll help you.
Just tip it up or something.
So you're freelance, huh?
Yeah.
My name's Dave McCormack, 8015 Summit Point Place, Lewis Center. Live in the Courtyards of Hidden Ravines. I'm the acting president of the association, and I'm here representing our 91 homeowners.
Okay.
Maybe I'll switch hands, I got a tremor. I respect the fact that the board's listened to the presentation a second time. And unfortunately, I'm a little bit frustrated with the situation, no different than you, that you're dealing with plans that are not completed so you can actually make a decision, and we, with our time, be involved in that decision. I look at it that from that perspective, and I won't dwell on it. I mean, that was a deadline. You had to hit the deadline for the meeting and be prepared. We're prepared. Apparently, they weren't. So things happen, but that's where we're at. The thing I wanted to point out for the association, it's not a matter of whether that we don't disagree with the religion. They could be great neighbors, probably are. It goes back to what you talked about just a little while ago. The first variance was granted based on 150 people, and it should have been on a 5-acre plot. You gave them a variance of 3.35 acreage. That's great. Now, all of a sudden, 2 years later, after they stated on the record that it was going to be temporary, back in May of 23, they said, if we grow, we will move and find another site. And here we are, we're talking about doubling membership, and it may be what they call a rolling basis. I wish one of the neighbors had taken a picture 2 or 3 weeks ago when they did have their gathering, because the lot was full of cars. It was packed. And that's great for them. But that's an example of what it can be in a situation where there's not enough acreage for the proper use of a place of worship. And the other thing, when you look at the plans, when I looked at the plans, however small they were, it didn't seem to me that the radius turn you talk about for the fire department, that it was actually going to be functional based on those drawings, because the radius turn would be taking out all your handicap parking. And last I checked, handicap parking's got signage and posts, etc. So that's all I'm going to say. We've invested in brought forward our attorney this evening, and I'd like to turn it over to Jason Charlton. Get it right?
Yeah. I should be able to project my voice. My name is Jason Charlton. I'm an attorney. Office address 50 Public Square, Cleveland, Ohio 44113. I have been sworn because I'm not technically here on as an attorney because they're not the applicant. But at the same time, I'd like to make a point. Property owners.
Pardon me, I'm so sorry. Did you say you have or have not been sworn in?
I have.
You have been, thank you.
Yeah, I believe I qualify as testimony, so I got sworn in,
Correct.
so I did
Thank
get
you.
sworn in. Property owners, and I'm going to butcher these names, Jyoti Palachandra and Palachandra Ganesh. My understanding is those aren't the people who were here presenting today?
Correct. They don't have to be. Just the people who are here presenting are representatives of the, on behalf of the applicant. The property owners don't have to be here, and the property owners don't have to be on behalf of the temple.
So they're allowed to make motions on their behalf to continue this?
Correct.
Okay. I want to make sure I understand that because I'm sitting here looking at like, okay, they're not here. Okay. Let me run through what else I have. So minimum for conditional use is supposed to be 5 acres. They're trying to expand, that's for any religious institution that's in farm residential, regardless of attendance. The application was moving it up to enough people that it requires 6 acres. I don't know if now they're saying that they want to reduce the difference between occupancy and actual seats in the building they're not the same thing. Your zoning resolution states, you know, if you have so many seats, you're required to have so much acreage. You're also required to have so many parking spaces. If they're moving that number down to 299 because they're trying to do it, that's just one more time they're changing their numbers. They're trying to skirt around all these rules. I'm starting to look at their applications and the changing as it, like, you know, if we're going to approve this, what's the point of having these zoning rules? That's just kind of a side note. So they've registered this charity. Now they purchased the property, immediately applying for the first conditional use variance. Now here we are 2 years later, asking for another one. The other one, it wasn't to construct a religious structure. They were repurposing something that was already existing at that time. Sorry, I've got notes in here because it seems like things changed since the last time, or since the last stuff that was turned in. That and some things have already been mentioned. I'm trying not to double up. So we're talking about half the size of the parcel of land that they're on. They're on 3 1/3 acres, where it require 5 or 6, depending on what their final application is going to be. They're not even close. It's way too small for what it is that they want to do. And they knew that from the beginning. The gentleman who owns the place, I believe was the one it was July, it was 2 months ago, stated that he was on the zoning commission. So somebody involved in this testified that they're part of the zoning commission. They know these rules, they know what they're doing, they know that they are intentionally trying to skirt the rules and change this to meet their needs for some reason on this small little piece of land that isn't big enough for what they need. If I'm doing the math, I don't know, if they're changing things, we're talking about 56-foot wide building, 207-foot wide piece of land, east to west. They've even said that the land's really too small for what they're doing, and it is. They shouldn't be looking to construct building of that size, that magnitude, on this small little narrow section of property. 200 feet wide is nothing. You know, a football field, well, playing area is 300 feet, you know, plus the end zones. So it's a very small, narrow little place. Shouldn't be here. It's going to be way too far to the community condominium association. If they were going to try to beat the 100-foot rule, they'd have to move the property so far to the west, to the east, that they would end up forcing to put the parking down the other side of the property, where now the parking is right next to the condo property, and so they're still going to deal with that. So if you look at the zoning resolution, purpose for farm residential district zoning is used for appropriate land for continued agricultural purposes or construct low-density, single-family residences. So I mean, this is straight in the resolution. Other essential non-urban types of residential and agricultural activities, so that the basically rural character of these areas can be preserved and maintained. That's not what they're going for. The proposed temple would require 6 acres. They said if they're changing the thing again, okay, fine, 5, but there's still not enough land. Shows a clear intention in the zoning regulation or resolution that these areas require larger plots of land to maintain that appropriate makeup of the area. Such a structure like this, the amenities it's required with the 100, well, if it's going to be a 400 seat, it's actually 134 minimum parking spaces. If they're bringing it down below 300, yeah, that's a different one, and I didn't do the math on that one yet. So it's still not going to fit the aesthetic on the rural characteristic for which, you know, this zoning designation specifically is required. If you look at that section of area where this parcel is at, where the condos around it, almost all of that is on multifamily planned residence district. Almost the whole thing except for the sliver across the top of where Orange Road is. So this one, for some reason, is farm residential. It is the only odd one out in that little specific area. Looks like partly due to the amount of trees that are there and foliage, but I'm expecting they need to be taken out to accommodate this. But on top of that, the trees, they're actually fairly thin. I went by there earlier today to take a look at the property. If you stand in the backyards of the condominiums, you can see straight through those. Those trees are very thin, they're very small, and in fact, many of them have fallen down. There are dead trees laying all throughout there, which creates a fire hazard, because that's not been cleaned up. Needs to be cleared out, and that is directly behind the condominiums. If that fire starts there, you know, it's going to be very difficult to prevent that fire from jumping to the condominiums and destroying all those homes. Again, I'm trying not to double up on talking. So briefly about parking, it's not just simply the spaces, it's the fact that you need the extra room around the spaces to drive. So the spaces plus overall drive area moves it much, much bigger. My math was coming out to at least a half, probably closer to 3/4 of an acre itself is going to be designated simply blacktop for parking. That's huge on a 3 1/3 parcel piece of land. The other thing they've touched on is water drainage. There's going to be a lot of runoff from this, a lot of runoff from the building. You know, they're paving the vast majority, well, not the vast majority, they're paving a significant portion of the property. They need to have proper drainage. It doesn't seem to be that they're accounting for that from what I've been able to see from the drawings. Yeah, in the property itself, like I said, I was out there, the property actually does slope north to south, which leads directly into part of the condominium association. So something would need to be done in order to raise the back end of that up, or catch it, some kind of drainage system that would handle not only the amount of normal rainfall, but if there's storms come through, flash flooding. I don't know if you guys get that nearly as bad as we do up in north. I live in Barberton, and I swear it's nothing but a flood zone, and there's not one person in the city of Barberton on it smart enough to handle it. It's a mess. I'm guessing you guys do a better job. However, flash flooding is a thing in Ohio. We get, excuse me, we get some solid rainstorms, water comes down fast. I don't know what their plan is to be able to handle that to prevent flooding the surrounding areas, because they're basically surrounded by places or other properties that it could be a problem for. Again, the property itself is actually owned by two individuals. It's not owned by a religious institution. The nonprofit organization, this is a nonprofit organization. I've actually presented the documentation to the board previously from the two IRS letters as well as from the state of Ohio, showing that they are a nonprofit. It's a weird designation. I listed that in there because I don't fully understand it. I do taxes, but I do not do nonprofit stuff. So I'm sorry, I can't speak to not that any of you really care anyways, but the designations, but they are a nonprofit organization, but the nonprofit does not own the property. So individuals are asking for an exception for something that's not theirs. Whether or not that's actually an issue, obviously, you can refer to your legal counsel.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
You said you presented it to the board?
Yes, I emailed it to,
Oh,
zoning
you
director, who's
emailed
gonna-
it in.
who's
That's
gonna
what you
give it
mean.
To the board, yeah.
No, I've got that here. I just wanted to make sure I didn't
Yeah,
miss.
no, just had
I didn't remember you
long-winded
from
letter,
before.
you know?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Got it.
I saw the fire department letter. They've got 6 points on there. Not to get too deep into that, but we do have serious concerns. Dave already mentioned, one of the things we're really concerned about is that turn radius. That doesn't fly, because it's right over top of the 88 parking lot, parking spaces. But just to close, looks from my perspective, the entire plan's improper. No, I don't think they can make any changes to make this fit. They really need, for what they want, to find other facilities, as of what they've already said. There's just no way of them handling this. If something happens with the fire breakout, the condos are right next door. It's got trees that aren't being maintained. Everything's right there. The building and the activities that are held are within such a short distance, and there is not really insulation from the trees because it just is not thick. If you look at, they showed the sky view from Google Maps or whatever it is. I've seen that. If you look at the sky view from the county auditor's website, same thing, except it's taken a different time of year and it's all brown and looks dead because clearly it's in fall. Yeah, right. So there's not really that insulation that these folks who have been here for years would want from something that's going to have the kind of activities and sound and whatnot that's going to come from this organization. So it's really not appropriate for them to be able to be on such a very small area that's right in the corner of another multifamily residential area.
I did want to, the parking on the fire department truck radius, that was one particular point that I was looking at in the site plan now.
Yeah.
The thing about that radius, so they show that it's turning there. There is the ability for that fire truck to go in front of the building and then hit another 39-foot radius on the parking lot that's on the west side,
Yeah.
and then still exit the building. The main thing with the fire department, their concern, obviously, is that they're not going to back up their trucks. They must be able to keep rolling forward. If the fact that the parking lot's designed that way and that the gravel is still left in place, that to me at least was demonstrating there's a viability for the fire truck and for it to address it. So it's not actually doing a complete turnaround and over the ADA spaces. They show that graphically to represent that radius. I just wanted to clarify that. So and that's just one thing though, but I hear all the
Right,
other
no,
points
yeah.
and concerns that you're bringing up. I just want to.
understand, yeah, the residents are very concerned about the fact that the fire department listed it says you guys are not even close to meeting the requirements. I understand it's still beginning the process, and that's
Yes.
probably not necessarily what you're here for. However, when we look at the fact that they're not meeting this, it's a safety concern for the neighbors. So they're all looking at the fact that if there's an issue, what's being done, what is there, one of the reasons we don't have fires that get out of control the way we normally do, except for Los Angeles, we saw that, I think it was just last year. If you don't have the fire prevention, if you don't have ways of stopping fires when they go, mitigating damages, it keeps going and going and going and going and going. And if they're not going to have that in place before they put this building up, and something happens, because a lot of times fires happen during construction site. If something happens that catches fire, it's going to jump through those woods in an instant, and then we've got half our condo association is homeless.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Dennis Robinette, 8053 Summit Point Place, Lewis Center, and I have been sworn in.
Thank you.
Well, sorry, I'll try to speak louder. Is that better? I have a question to begin with. Is this a never-ending issue? I come from a federal government contracting background. Do they submit a best and final, or do we keep allowing them to submit their plans until they get approved? I don't understand the process, I guess. It's not that we just sat here all evening and may have to do it again because the rules are the rules. But what are the rules? I mean, do they keep submitting plans? Do they have a best and final? I just don't understand.
Mr. Robinette, that's your last name?
Yes.
Robinette. So in terms of process and procedure, the township has deadlines for submitting application materials so that staff can prepare the staff report. Staff report generally goes out to the applicant. It is not uncommon for the applicant to either submit additional materials or to come to the hearing with updated materials. It is an interactive process, recognizing that it can be frustrating for the public because that means that you may have to come back a couple of times and that type of thing. But at the end of the day, it is a process. Sometimes there is back and forth. Sometimes there are multiple hearings. But there's no, unfortunately, I don't have a set answer for you. I can't say that there's a, the board would say, we've stopped and there's nothing further unless the applicant were to basically say, this is all I have and this is all I'm going to present to the board.
So they can keep making applications until they get tired of making applications?
No, I think, quite frankly, the board today even told the applicant that they're not necessarily in a position to approve the application in front of them, and the applicant read the tea leaves and said they are willing to revise and come back. And if the applicant had said, no, I'd like for you to make a decision, then I think the board would move forward with a decision.
All right. Thanks, I think.
I hear what you're saying, though.
Well, we're here.
I
to
get
offer our
it.
opinion
You all came
based
tonight.
on data that was sent from Eric, and he did.
Get it.
I mean, his staff notes are wonderful, but my comments, I mean, do I go through and give you my comments? Because they're going to change, or they may change. So, but it's not just a level of frustration. We just wonder what's going to cause it to come to a conclusion.
Sir,
Yes.
were you done?
No, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. You stopped, so I assumed you were
Waiting
done.
for you to respond.
Okay.
I apologize.
My bad.
No, my bad.
Well, I will say that one thing to interject on that. It behooves them to get the case settled because then they can proceed with the project or the work, or they have to make the decision that they are not going to. They have to maybe sell or move to a different lot, but they're not themselves. They don't want to continue in a revolving door of this. So I mean, that's the incentive and that's the process. In my mind, I'm thinking after we get for this continuance in the next hearing, we should be ready at that point for a vote. That's my personal opinion on how this is going to proceed.
Yeah, because when we're sitting over here listening to what's going on, it sort of appears like you guys are going to allow them keep making changes based on what feedback they get until they come, hey, we've answered all the comments, now we want your approval.
No,
I don't know if that's right or wrong, it's just that's the opinion.
I want to answer your question. In my mind, I think it's because as a board, we were not clear on what we were evaluating, and we were not prepared to make a vote because of that. So once we have them, then there's no reason we would not proceed with a vote on the variances.
Understand.
Okay.
Understand. But to that end, it just seems like it's kind of a shell game. You know, they started with 400 people, but the threshold is 300, now we're down to 299. What's the next number? You know, it just appears that way. I'll start just with my comments that I think are relevant. They started by saying in May of 2023, going to be a temporary church, no new structure, there'd be no noise or evidence that they even existed. Of course, we know that's not the case. I mentioned in the July meeting about the fire ceremony. My wife calls it the toga fire ceremony. And then since the July meeting in late August, they've had, the week of August 21st, they've had 3 more of their toga smoke fire rituals in front of their building. As you guys know, as we all know, the weather's very hot and there's definitely a drought going on. So I just don't understand why they're doing it. I brought photos and extra copies of photos, if you don't have, of this ceremony with the smoke bellowing through our neighborhood. I assume you got these photos, okay? So it's just very clear. Their ceremony is their ceremony, that's fine, but one spark, one ember. We've been, where we used to live, we've been through this out west, and it's a very serious issue. We don't even have open fires in our neighborhood because of where we live. It's dangerous. I didn't see anything up on their charts about their ceremonies. They didn't mention that. They kept changing the numbers, but they're still going to have their ceremonies.
Sir, have you talked to the fire department about that? Because I thought we were under a no burn ban. I don't know what that means as far as the ceremonies.
I don't know. I
was
don't
just
know.
curious.
Sort of, if you go over and talk to the lieutenant over here, wonderful people, by the way, very helpful, kind of get different answers.
Okay.
So they'll say, well, I can't really say it's illegal, but you shouldn't do it. So, I mean, they're trying to get along like all of us. So, as we know, the proposed layout expands everything and pushes their facility very close to the property line, in some cases into our hidden ravine community. Given that their parking lot is at an angle, the parking spaces will be anywhere from 47 to 53 feet from our home. Their 8,000 square foot structure will be about 65 feet from our property line, which is 35 feet closer than permitted. Another shell game, I believe, is the water impoundment pond, 141 foot long, 20 feet wide. Their previous chart was 5 feet deep. Now it's 3 feet, I think they said tonight. It started, the original design had the pond behind the church, and several of us were concerned about the pest infestation and rodents and other things. So now they got it up near Orange Road, where they realize there's no way in the world they can go to get a permit from any engineer unless that pond was moved south. Well, it's moving south. It's moving south right on the property line with our development. And depending on how hard the rain is, that water could stand in there a long time. So we're back to the original bug problem that our neighborhood faces every year anyway. The addition of the expanded church and parking facilities right next to our homes will, without question, reduce our property values. Section 701 of the zoning resolution states that the purpose for Article 7 is to preserve the basic rural character of this area, to install a new 8,000 square foot building, asphalt parking for however many number of cars, I got 134 here, light poles, pond. It's going to essentially destroy the property and convert it from a rural setting to an urban look. It will clearly disrupt the peace and tranquility of the 91 families in our community. Given his position as a member of the Orange Township Zoning Commission, the purchaser of this property already knew the property was unsuitable for their needs. He stated during the July meeting that the property is 200 foot wide, deeming the property unusable for this intended purpose. They should have followed the zoning rules and purchased a different property instead of forcing the misuse of this land. I got here, the 400 member building which requires 6 acres, is about 45% of the current size, so they need a much bigger land. So I don't know if they keep throwing numbers around, but it's not big enough. We contend their intention all along was to make this location their permanent home. They only stated it was temporary so that their initial request would more likely be approved. We believe this deception should be taken into account regarding the potential lack of truthfulness and accuracy regarding the variance request as well as the original variance request. The drawing submitted to the zoning board depicted a simple rectangular structure. But if you look at their website, they're also soliciting donations for a grand tower, $50,000, guardian, $30,000, pillar of congregation, $25,000. The list goes on and on. But it's going to be quite a bit more than a simple rectangular structure. One has to wonder why the church is fighting so hard to use this property rather than moving to a property which is obviously much more suitable in size and one which meets zoning criteria. Is the issue financial? Is it because they have a church member who is also employed by Orange Township? Or is it because the lot is heavily wooded and the church is embarrassed by the rituals? Regardless, it's being forced into our community without regard to zoning rules, noise pollution, air pollution, fire safety, property value assessment, and unnecessary traffic congestion. Several of our homeowners are already talking about moving. In fact, we were just discussing that before this meeting started. What would happen if the church continues to grow? I mean, they've been successful, which is a good thing for church and people having a place to worship. Not bad, but good. But if the church continues to grow, what else are they going to do to this little plot of 3-acre land? There's not a hell of a lot else you can do to it. Because they said they would move to begin with. What makes you think you're going to move if it continues to grow? They're going to want more land. They're going to want more facilities. It's really a catastrophe waiting to happen. The 91 families and taxpayers in the Hidden Ravines community are relying on our Orange Township Zoning Board to hold fast to the current criteria which defines the proper and appropriate use of this land. It's logical, established with a continuity of use in mind, and done for the betterment of the entire township, both public and private sector. We're urging the board, regardless of the design, please hold fast to current zoning requirements and deny this variance request. We're also asking the Orange Township Zoning Board to rescind the original conditional use variance approval done in May of 2023. It was based on false statements. They flat out lied, made by the landowners with hiding the fact that they would periodically have outdoor ceremonies with open fires and now with a sound system. Yeah, back in August, we were surprised. We weren't surprised with the smoke, although it was discouraging. But I was surprised when now, well, it's like being on TV, but you can't turn it down. Anyway, we believe their intent all along was to initially say anything to get their enterprise started. Then they could ultimately push for a giant expansion. Rescinding the approval of the original request would return our community to that described in Section 701, Article 7, excuse me, which is a rural residential community. It's time to stop this never-ending issue. We must return the property to a farm residential district for continued agricultural purposes and low-density single-family residences, as stated in Section 701. It's in the best long-term solution for our church, our community, and Orange Township. We'll allow the church to seek a larger, more appropriate property that they can use when they expand for potential growth. This will avoid the current little 3-acre lot property from being totally destroyed and ruining it for its intended use as described in the zoning rules. I'm done.
Thank you.
Board, I do have one clarifying point for the record. The last person to speak did make a request that the board rescind the prior conditional use permit, and that is not something that you are able to do, even if you were making a decision today. That has been approved, and obviously what has been approved is not up for revocation or anything like that.
That's great. Thank you.
Do you have a question about that?
Clarifying question. I have a clarifying question if I may.
Yeah.
Just so, once the variance has been granted, they can continue doing what they're doing now next to my house. What, is there an alternative for me? I mean, I'm concerned about the fire ceremonies that could potentially burn down some of our houses. What do I do? Who do I call about? What do I do? Who do I see?
I know in my neighborhood, the fire department actually frequently comes out and tells people to put fires out if they're too big or don't meet the specifications. So you can call them. That's why I was asking. Because in my neighborhood, I've seen them out telling people that, because there are rules about that.
So it's your opinion that that would not be inappropriate for us to call the fire department the next time they have one of those ceremonies?
I mean, they can give you advice about whether it's a danger. That's why I was asking that.
The only reason I asked the question, it was almost like we have no recourse here but to put up with what they're doing.
I mean, you can ask them and see if they think it's a safety issue.
All right.
As you said, they're very kind and helpful.
Can I go to the applicant? Okay.
Can I clarify on that as an applicant? The last 3 weekends ago, on the weekend of August 21, was our fall event. That is what we want to clarify. The fire was less than the size of a campfire. Even then, someone called the fire department on us. They did come out, they saw, they left. Just to clarify.
Thank you.
They did see that, and they smirked and left.
Okay.
Just to clarify.
Thank you.
And I do remember at the last meeting, you guys clarified that you were having some brush taken out and someone was burning a stump and you told them, please stop because the
Yes.
smoke was too much. I remember that as well.
Yeah.
And if you could, since we have a room full of people and we've continued this so that you can speak, if you can make it as brief as possible and say what you want to say so that someone else has the opportunity to speak. We won't limit you, but if you could just for your kindness.
Absolutely. No, I'll be quick. My name is Amit Rastogi. I'm a resident of 1768 Little Bear Loop, Lewis Center. I have been sworn in. So I'm going to make 2-3 quick points. One, I do respectfully disagree with a lot of the characterization that has been made just now around board members, church, visibility of, I have been in the temple. I have been able to look through the tree line into other people's homes. I think the tree line does provide a good cover. When I moved here in September 23, I bought the house with the specific view that we have this temple here near us, and it is important for the community. I think we as the community are being very respectful to the rules. So we've come here through the formal process, applying for variances, making our point heard. So if the intent was to keep changing numbers or some of the other allegations that are being made, I do respectfully disagree with that. I think we've been, as good citizens, as tax-paying citizens, we've come here, we've bought the property ourselves, and there is enough evidence, data, empirical data, that when a temple goes out in a community, the neighboring areas actually increase in value. And this is not me saying about this temple. Within Lewis Center, there are at least 3 or 4 instances like that, and any realtor can actually pull out the data. So I want to basically make the point that for the community, the existence of this temple, the availability of this temple near our homes is important. We want to follow the right process. We want to follow the rules. And if the rules require us to apply for variance, that is what we're doing today. And we want the board to be sympathetic to the idea and decide in their judgment what is right for us. Is that fair?
That's good.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Can I make a point about the parking? This is going back to your application, but I did want to make this as far as you have a continuance. There was a variance request on the parking dimensions. So this is quite sensitive because the code requires a 20-foot depth on space. You're trying to reduce that depth. Why that is important from a design standpoint, typical parking lots have 20-foot spaces, 20-foot aisles between those spaces. So you have 60-foot overall width. That is a typical commercial or church parking lot. So when you reduce that depth of the parking space, what is happening is the rear end of that car is poking out into the aisle. It's highly sensitive because now you are reducing that 20-foot clear width. That is a design requirement typically on parking lots. So be sensitive of that with your engineer, with your design engineer, with your architect when you're looking at that. And you can selectively locate reduced spaces that may not have an aisleway between them. That's one way of doing it. But just have to be careful of that because that is a concern just for safety and for fire department access, et cetera. Okay? Thank you.
Can you comment?
Sure.
Yeah, but thank you for that comment, but the intent is not to reduce anything less than 20 feet. I think we recognized it. I think it was something that the plan was.
So that would be rescinded?
Yeah, it was already, updated to include the correct regulations.
That's great. Thank you. Sorry.
And if I may also clarify.
To the mic.
If I may also clarify the radius for the fire department, based on the comments from the fire department, that radius has been increased and reflected in the submission. Now, with the other comments about the storm sewer and the building size, parking lot, we hired the civil engineer professionals that we trust that, you know, if they're being questioned, then I don't know who else we can hire to justify our design.
I will say, well, first of all, I know there's, I think several folks have talked about the inconvenience and we recognize it. But I think, you know, the intent of a resubmission was not to change the numbers. It was to respond to the comments from the, you know, from the staff. So
Yes, yes.
I just want to make sure.
Okay. Ma'am?
Hi, I'm Heather Sisler. I put my business address. Do you want my Delaware County address instead?
Your home address.
I'm 8480 Maple Leaf Court, Powell, Ohio, 43065. Yes, I was sworn in.
Okay, thank you.
Beautiful. I represent the Healthy Pets of Lewis Center, which is actually their neighbor right next door. And so our number one concern is the water that's going to hit our property. But the secondary item, which nobody here knows, is they actually came to us and asked if they could buy our land. So I went and met with the temple owner back in April. Went, had a nice sit-down meeting with them, handed them my card, and they said, oh, we'll have our agent call you. Nothing has happened. So here we are. So a lot could have resolved months ago, and we wouldn't have this issue. They could have just bought our land because they reached out to us first thing.
Okay.
So that needs to be of record, because we don't want water issues on our property, and we are the West.
Are you saying there's a piece of the Healthy Pets property that you guys are willing to
They
sell?
came to us and asked if they could buy our,
And you guys are interested in doing that?
they asked us
Okay.
if they could buy it.
That little section, okay,
So the record needs to show that.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
May I
Yeah.
ask for clarification on that?
Yeah.
With the mic, please.
And please identify yourself with at least your name, because we have someone transcribing this.
This is Karthik again, 1510 Cottonwood Drive. Thank you for the comment. As you can see, it's our intent to be within the rules and get a larger parcel here, but we are trying our best. Thank you for your comment today.
Sure, like they reached out to us, so if
Yeah.
they intend to want to be where they are and they want our vacant land, if they reached out to us to begin with, I don't know why they would have just dropped the ball. It's just mind-boggling.
Well,
But the water concerns with their engineer firm, what guarantee is they're going to put in this and then we're not going to have concerns or have problems?
I would just, to answer your question, I consider that just due diligence on their part. They're looking at options if they possibly would or could purchase that property. If I were a their architect or engineer, I would ask them, if you've got property available there that you could use, pursue at least what are your options. So they may well have been asked by their, design consultant to do that.
But if they don't, but they dropped that back in April, correct? So they have not called us back, they've not emailed us, or their temple owner has not done that since I went and took my shoes off, met with them, had a great conversation. I told them we would be interested in selling because they approached us first.
Understood.
Okay.
Again, I could, yes.
So,
I just think that, again, was probably a due diligence on their part to see if they have the option there.
And to see how much it's going to cost. and-
Correct, too.
Yeah,
That
if they can
possible.
afford
well,
it.
they named a price, so,
Okay, so,
Well, and actually, we have you on the record now, and
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
don't really
we
know
appreciate
what,
that.
we don't know what's in their head or what's in yours, so.
right. So,
Or what's in their budget.
right, we don't know any of that, but what I am stating is that they came to us, and what my concern representing Healthy Pets is if they move forward with their proposed paperwork that they provided to you, and they put in their retention pond, or we have water runoff, it's going to hit Healthy Pets. And you would have to go back in time and pull up the Healthy Pets drawings of how our building is already there because we are the property to the west. So the person you're going to affect is our building that's already in place. That's your first casualty. So that gentleman is talking about water runoff and how it's going to damage what's already existing. Besides the smoke, the water is the next thing, and water is fierce.
Board, if I may, a couple of items, and obviously, thank you for your comment and feedback. I think that it has been noted for the record that there was a discussion about the property acquisition. Obviously, this board can only review the application and amendments that are in front of it. And your comments about water runoff have absolutely been noted as part of the record. I do want to mention that with respect to water runoff, when, and this is part of the engineering process and that type of thing, when water retention ponds are installed, they cannot cause additional runoff onto neighboring properties. If it were to occur, there are potential liabilities that there would be an owner-to-owner situation, but from an engineering perspective, from a legal perspective, that retention pond goes in, water runoff should not go from the temple property onto any other property.
And I think this was made mention of at the last hearing as well, that zoning doesn't handle drainage or runoff. The commercial building department is with Delaware County, and with these improvements, the applicant would be required to go to the county, and they would be looked at as far as the drainage engineering. So Delaware County would review that process, and I understand that process entails looking at surrounding properties, ensuring that surface water runoff does not impact those surrounding properties. So those sorts of reviews and calculations are handled at the county level.
So they would have to go through that process after they go through this process.
Zoning, correct.
Okay,
All right, great.
Anything else?
That's it.
thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else to speak? Sir, or, yes. I'm sorry if I missed
Yeah,
you.
he's behind the
You were behind
beam,
the pillar for
column.
me.
No, it's okay, go ahead.
And then-
Gentleman in the back.
Ese Pandia, 5974 Tournament Drive, Westerville 43082. I've sworn. Heather is my good friend. I'm also a realtor. We work in the same company, and I am the agent for the applicants. I was given the number, and probably wasn't the right number. I didn't get the right name. Otherwise, we would have contacted them. Actually, same office. We could have talked, and if there was the case about resolution, we would have done that. So there was some kind of miscommunication. And unfortunate that she didn't follow up and say, "Who is your agent? Let me reach out." But it's okay. Neither here nor there. That's not the point. But what I'm trying to say is it's a very unique Hindu mythology, the temple, the deity itself. It is really emotional, the way it sits and the way it is placed there, located. It is, a lot of people have a very religious and emotional attachment to it. We are good neighbors, definitely. I don't really see a problem. People are saying, oh, they are changing numbers and stuff. All they're trying to do is do their best so that they can make the people surrounding it happy and they can still be there. And the reason for increasing the size is that whenever the ceremony and stuff is, nobody else will get bothered and they'll be able to do it themselves inside and the noise level will be low. And definitely we are following the guidelines and there is not really, we are in fire department compliance and all that. So it's not really the issue. But as far as I also wanted to say, it was mentioned about the values. There are a lot of churches and temples around Orange Township and Lewis Center area. And all I see is that around nothing else, I think temple actually helps to increase the value. It also helps to bring the actually good vibes to, in lack of better terminology, no crime. People come and pray, people bring their family, and there's a lot of service and welfare for community happens over there. People do get together and do work for overall goodness of community. So they're not there to really make any kind of problems to anybody. Yes, it was a smaller land, but when an organization needs it, even how hard it was to raise that much money. Yes, they could have gotten 20 acres, but for them to really get there, it was so hard to go to the community and ask them to get that much money to do that. And they're still trying their best to do that. So just wanted to mention that to you guys. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening to the board. Hi, my name is Karthik Hari.
A little louder.
A little louder. My name is Karthik Hari. I live at 1466 Little Bear Loop. I have not been sworn in. I'm just here to give a testimonial as a member of the community.
Well, you need to be sworn in, so please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If state I do.
I do.
Okay, thank you. And
Absolutely.
you've given us your name and address already, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I would like to say that I'm here because about a week and a day ago, I was in a near-death experience. And I was rushed to a trauma center, and the first thing that I asked for my parents to do when they came to get me was to bring me to this specific temple. This is a very unique place. It is a place where this community has really created deep bonds. I grew up in Columbus, mostly in Worthington, but I hope to remain in Columbus for the rest of my life. I hope to raise my family here, and near-death experiences aside, one day, long from now, I hope to leave Columbus peacefully. And until that time, I would love to keep coming back to this temple. I think that there may be a miscommunication about the amount of people that come. It's a very small community. In fact, I look over and I see incredibly close friends, neighbors, mentors, children that I've seen grow up from when they were really just tiny. And I'd like for that to continue. Yes, it is true. There are occasionally the temple events that are the ceremonial flames. But I can tell you this, as somebody that's planning an Indian wedding at an indoor venue, the ceremonial flames that are performed outdoors are the exact same ones performed by the same priests that are certified to do it indoors at venues, for example, like the one that I'm having in a couple of months. Fire safety is always paramount. In fact, safety is paramount, and I can vouch for that because I've grown up my whole life around it. One thing I can say is we would like to be good neighbors. We want to contribute to the community, to our neighborhood, and to make everyone feel safe, not just those of the same faith, but of any faith for, us to be able to cohabitate and to exist in the same space. And I just hope that, I know that today we are at an impasse, but in the future, as you look towards making a decision, that you just hear that today a lot of us are here to talk about faith, and we intend to, in good faith, uphold our part of the bargain. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Hello, Chris Moore, 8061 Summer Point Place, Lewis Center. I have been sworn in. If you need me to speak up, I'd be shocked.
No, I think you're okay.
So, I just thought, I know it's been referenced, the first application on May 18th, 2023. I did submit some comments today to Eric. Apologize for the late submission, and I don't know if you've had a chance to see those. But,
I think so.
I think even though the original application has been referenced, I think the actual words that were said by the applicants at the time should be made record. After Mr. VJ, who was representing the temple, was sworn in, he said, "All right, yes, I have sworn, and yeah, so this is like a temporary worship place. And this place is going to be a place of worship on an individual basis. There is no assembly or anything. And this is going to be a temporary. As I said, when we plan to grow big, then we are going to move out of there." Mr. Sundar on the board questioned, "So when you plan to make it bigger, it's not going to be the same property you mean?" Mr. VJ, "That's right." Mr. Sundar, "So you're going to move on, so this is going to be very temporary." "Thank you so much." Mr. VJ, "That's right." "Right, correct." If I could swear in my dog, he would actually tell you that they can be seen, even with this full foliage at this time, and it can be clearly seen. And with the reduced forestation and all that, I think, which does even help with noise reduction as it currently is. And if you had a chance to view the video I submitted from their thing, their outdoor ceremony, which in the original application, they said there would be no outdoor noise and no outdoor ceremonies. It would all be indoors, similar to the wellness center that was previously established there. So those are all my comments, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I was able to incorporate Mr. Moore's comment into the packet that is printed out as well. There was no way to email the video, however, that was saved in the case file, and it is up. It can be displayed if any of the board wanted to see it on the screen. So just want to leave that to you. Yep.
Anyone else?
My name is Beata Bajaj.
Louder, please.
Beata Bajaj. I'm resident at 6372 Fox Hollow Drive.
I'm Kunal Bajaj. I'm the husband, same address. We both need to be sworn in.
They need to be sworn in.
That's fine. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If state, I do.
I do.
Thank you.
I wanted to come up and just share from our side. We've been residents here in the Genoa Township in the vicinity of the temple for the past about 18 years. We frequent the temple in the recent couple of years pretty regularly, and I just hearing the testimony today, I've come to understand that the temple is trying to, in good faith, make amends to their former plans that as everything in life change, and if there is opportunity for growth and continuance of use of the property, it would make sense to make adjustments and make proper plans to make the property safer and the right size for the community. I look at the number variations as just a sensible response to the concerns of the community. If the numbers do not reflect the proper allowance, then obviously you have to adjust, like with everything, when you move into your own property and you realize you do not have the funds or you do not have the space, you obviously make adjustments in your original plans, not because you had wrong intention or you were giving false testimony. It's because the reality is demanding adjustments. And I just wanted to state that as a family of 5, we're rooted here in the community. Our children are part of the Olenchangi School District. To us, the temple is an important part of our experience. We worship there, and we do so regularly on Saturdays. And it's part of our tradition. We used to attend temple in Powell area, which is about 35 minutes away, which sometimes makes it for a challenging arrangement. So to us, it's very convenient and it's very advantageous to have this temple. Our children attend school with Panditji's children, and so to us it feels like a community, and it's very enriching to our life.
Yeah, just a couple of additional points.
Louder.
We've talked about, sorry,
There you go.
can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We've talked about moving several times. We've had that conversation. As a family grows, right? There's 3 things that have kept us here. One is the awesome schools. The second thing is we love our neighbors and we have close friends here. But third most important thing is the presence of this temple. We have 2 teenagers at home. If you try to convince 2 teenagers to take a 40-minute drive to a temple and drive back another 40 minutes, that's a tough sell. They actually make it a point to attend this temple with us because of the close proximity. So this has enriched our lives significantly since the temple opened. We really hope that you would give this temple variance the due consideration that it certainly deserves. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm trying to look around pillars and corners. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Ron Fox, 424 Summer Tree Way. I've been sworn in.
Thank you.
Eric, could you bring up the last document that the applicants had?
You're talking about the most recent submission?
Yes.
That would be, we had that up earlier.
It was the one where they said that they had met all the,
Oh, was it the PowerPoint?
Oh, maybe it was the PowerPoint.
they said that they had met all the requirements to satisfy the residents.
It looks like it was from the slides in their PowerPoint.
I would like to protest that because we're here tonight because we want the zoning board to understand the difference between 5 acres and 3.35. We got a lecture 2 months ago about justice, which I didn't care for, okay? But you let it go on. So I would say, when 2 months ago when you said, gotta have your ducks in a row, where are we? So I just want to say I protest everything that's been said tonight, practically. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am?
Linda Webster, 8096 Scenic Passway, Lewis Center, and I have been sworn in. I just want to make one brief comment about something that I don't think has really been addressed tonight. If you look at the website for the temple, it says that they are announcing the creation of a new temple envisioned as a spiritual sanctuary for generations to come. And they are also seeking to raise $2 million for the construction of a grand tower, a pillared prayer hall for gathering, chanting, and spiritual community, and ornamental rooftop structures. I don't see where any of those things are in the current plans that they have submitted, and I have to question if it's approved what they're asking now, are they going to be back in another 2 years asking for another variance to build these things that are on their website? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I have already sworn in. So, my name is Raghu.
Your
I'm a
name and
local
address,
resident.
please, sir.
That's what he's getting to.
Oh, pardon me. Please continue.
Yes, I'm a local resident, and my address is 573 White Fountain, Delaware, Ohio. So, to begin with, this temple is not just a place of worship. It's a community center, a cultural hub, and vital resource for hundreds of families in this area. As the community grows, so does the need for adequate space to worship, celebrate, and serve. The proposed expansion will allow the temple to operate safely and respectfully without causing undue burden on the neighborhood. The temple management has been proactive in addressing concerns like traffic, noise, and parking. They are willing to work with the community in good faith to find solutions. I urge you to approve this proposal and support the value of inclusion, fairness, and community growth. So yeah, and to add more, so I have seen some of my friends who is coming to visit this temple from Cincinnati and Cleveland. The reason is this is a unique temple. This is the only temple to my knowledge, in the central Ohio. This is the only temple that brings the uniqueness. And to add more, whoever come here we all came voluntarily, so we are not reaching out to any attorney or like represent us. And I see some people are concerned just in case fire catches up, other houses nearby will be in problem. But one surprises me is like this building is a one building in 3-acre lot, but there is a community, they build 4 to 5 houses in 1 acre. So that really surprises me why they are not concerned about that. And to add more, when they were sharing the map, I see that lot has more green space than any other lot other than the adjacent lot. They have got all the trees and they are developing all the commercial things, and the builder the houses where he residing now, the builder, he cut down all the trees, he did enough damage to the environment and everything, and for his profit he built those houses. I am happy for having this taken care by temple. If not, this lot would have been bought by the same builder and he would have added 20 more houses. So that's all I would like to add. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm just going to say what I need to say because I'm sorry. Yes, I'll reintroduce myself. I'm Heather Sisler with Healthy Pets. And I'm really sorry for taking everybody's time this evening.
Please direct your comments to the board.
So I apologize. Yes, I'm Heather Sisler for Healthy Pets. I'm 8480 Maple Leaf in Powell. So I appreciate him speaking. And number one, we're all under oath, correct? Yes, we are. So AJ left. I'm not friends with AJ. I just happen to work for eMerge. Number one rule of real estate, don't lie. Everything you write down is honest. Everyone here just wants to live in harmony, correct? Yes, we do. That's all we want. So that's what the board is trying to figure out here. And it's not going to get solved tonight. We've already determined that. So at some point, we have to determine we're going to have to come back, period. Whether we talk about this for 2 more hours or we say we're coming back, we're going to beat a dead horse. That's what it comes down to. I understand we can put so many things in this green space. It is what it is. But how and what the city determines you can use that green space is up to them. And commercial is different than residential. And that is what the hard thing is when you have commercial that butts up to residential. Because this is actually platted as a commercial subdivision. So at the end of the day, I'm sorry for coming up here and being frustrated, but I know everybody else here is, so I figured somebody ought to just jump the gun and say it.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Anything else? Did I solve the statement that everybody's thinking? Huh?
Ma'am, you have
No,
to
no,
address
no.
the board.
I can't disclose what they offered, but I'm going to tell you green space is a premium, okay?
Yeah,
And they came to us.
we understand.
And
Ma'am, again, you've let the board know, and it's reflected in the record. However, I don't know that there's any additional.
Ma'am, you're not allowed to talk to the
All
audience.
comments must come to us.
So I'm sorry, I just see people shaking their head and I'm thinking, I know everybody is getting tired and they just probably want to go home sooner than later. If we're going to extend this meeting again, I just figured somebody ought to come up here.
Well, that's fine, but if that's done, I would like to move to the next person
Great.
who wants to talk.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Nishka Palachandra. I live at 2249 Shale Run Drive, Delaware, Ohio, 43015. I just have a clarification.
You've been sworn in?
I have not. Sorry.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, state I do.
I do.
Okay, thank you.
It's just to answer her point of contention. I understand the frustrations. We've all been here very long. I get it. We're all tired and hungry and probably tired. But just to answer her question of, we reached out first. That's my dad is the owner. He just said that we didn't reach out first. They came and contacted us first, and that's it. And just like as someone else mentioned, we're probably from, I don't know his mind, but we're probably just looking at all the different avenues and trying to figure out what works best. But yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to talk? Please, up here or the mic, either one.
All right, hearing all the comments, my name is Karthik Avadanula, 1510 Cottonwood Drive, Louis Center, Ohio, representing the applicant. I want to clarify a few things that to because of the comments that we had today. I would like to clarify a few things because of the comments that were made today. If someone has taken the extra step to check our tax exempt status, they should have also checked that for the last 2 years we have paid all taxes. We have not taken advantage of any of our tax exempt status. We have paid the federal tax, we have paid Delaware County property tax, and the state tax. So I would like that to be very clear on the record that we pay taxes even though we are a nonprofit. We have a tax exempt status, but we think it is an important thing to give back to the society, and that is part of our mantra, and we don't take from them, we actually give back. So we have paid taxes for the last 2 years. We have not taken advantage of the tax exempt status. Please take that. We would appreciate if you can take the next step to also check that. Thank you. And coming to some of the clarifications, the 3 weeks ago, that was our annual gathering because there was repeated comments about this happening again and again. It only happens twice a year, once in spring, once in fall. I want to re-clarify that. And that is when you see the number of people. And regarding that, there was a comment about are we trying to tire everybody out by trying to resubmit and resubmit. We are trying our best to accommodate the concerns neighbors have. That's why we are changing our plans. We are trying to accommodate you. We are trying to be the best neighbor that is possible, and that's why we are changing our plans to make sure you are comfortable. That is the reason why we have change of plans. When we submitted, there were comments, additional comments given to us. We addressed them and resubmitted because we want to be the best neighbor. We want to do this by the rules. And that is exactly why we only want 2 variances. One, to make this property useful. It's only 200 feet wide. To be able to use this property, we need that variance. And second is it's 3.35. We are trying all avenues, as you can see here, but we would like for the same variance to be continued. Those are the only 2 variances we think we need. And all other things we are trying to accommodate for the neighbors. There was questions about storm drainage and comments about storm coming. There is flash flooding and all of that. The civil engineers have designed this for, as Anil mentioned, it is designed for 100 years post and 10 years past. So it is not designed for today. It is designed for the next 100 years. Just like any other requirement is as needed by the county. And it is done in discussions with the county. Wanted to clarify that. Another thing, there is a comment, there were comments, multiple comments about being able to see the property from the tree line. There is no property that you can completely hide with trees. As mentioned previously, I'm on the zoning board. We are rewriting the zoning law, right? And we are preserving 65 feet of mature tree line on the west side. For reference, an industrial property in Lewis Center, which is on the Green Meadows Drive, has to only provide 6 feet of screening. A commercial property doesn't even have to do that. We are providing 65 feet, 10 times what is required for an industrial property. I want that to be noted. There were comments about fire events. We treat fire, water, all elements of nature as our gods. That is part of our Hindu tradition. And we respect the fire and we treat it with utmost respect because we feel our scriptures say that fire is a medium towards God. And that is exactly why we have fire in our rituals. And this fire is in less than a campfire every single time. It is certified to be operated indoors. We only operate outdoors because we want to be safe. And anytime we have this fire, at least 10 people are around it watching it. There is not a single time where there is an active fire where nobody is watching it. That never happens. The ending of the ritual is turning off the fire. Only after turning off the fire is when we leave. And there was an interesting comment about the ornamental stuff and $2 million raised. We are trying to raise money because these things are not cheap and these things are not made here. They come from different part of the world. There is a lot of cost. And the ornamental stuff that is mentioned, I would like to go back to the site plan where we show the inside.
Floor plan?
The floor plan.
PowerPoint?
The floor
Oh,
plan.
okay.
Yeah. You see on the left side of it, there are 5 things. Those 5 things are indoors. And these ornamental stuffs go on top of the indoor structures. They are not outside the building. They are inside the building. Okay, just to clarify. And there was a question about parking many times. The parking, as per the zoning rules, is dictated by the square footage of the gathering space because we do not have seating. We do not provide any seating. The congregation place is just a standing space. We just stand or sit on the floor. That is part of our ritual. And the square footage space dictates 105 parking spaces to be needed. There are many comments about more parking being needed. That is, just to clarify, that is not needed. Okay. The calculation is dependent on the amount of square footage space for the gathering. Those are some of the comments I had and clarifications. Yeah, that is all.
All right, thank you.
In terms of continuance dates, we want to confirm with the applicant what dates they want.
Are you ready to make a request for the continuance?
Yes, we are ready to make a request for the continuance.
Okay.
Continue.
Do I hear a motion to grant the continuance?
Do you want to make mention of the 2 dates for the next meeting? So the next available meeting, regular meeting, is going to be on October 16th, Thursday. The subsequent meeting is November 20th, also a Thursday.
They're trying to decide, I think.
Because I have been part of the application for this long, and I am not going to be in the country in October, in the month of October.
November?
So we request if it can be November date.
The November date.
So that would be
Okay,
November
November,
20th at
yeah.
6 p.m. in this room.
Okay.
6:30?
6 p.m.
6 p.m. Oh my gosh.
Do we have to move? Do we have to make a motion?
I move to continue case number VACU 2515 to November 20th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in this facility.
Second?
Motion to continue the application to November 20th at 6 p.m. right here in this room. That was made by Ms. Ross, second by Mr. Pax. Those voting, Mr. Trevs,
Yes.
Ms. Ross,
Yes.
Mr. Pax,
Yes.
Ms. Neff,
Yes.
and Mr. McCoy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Those of you that want to exit stage right, left actually, but you're welcome to. Please, if you're going to talk, go outside and talk. We'll proceed to the next case. Does the board need a break?
3-minute break. I just need.
The board would like to move for a recess of how much time?
3 minutes.
3 to 5 minutes.
3 to 5
We'll
minutes.
go with
You would just
a
recess and
certain
then come
amount,
back.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So when we get
We'll recess for
The only thing that I was
Just-
taking.
Eric, are you ready? Or do
Oh,
you need?
did you need a break?
Huh? Okay.
Okay.
You know what it is? Look,
You were good.
Oh, yeah, it's
it's the
those.
old building.
Yeah. it's-
You're right. Something left on the plans.
We'll get rolling here in just a minute.
Understand it hardly when I'm looking at it 5 hours. Well,
They had a shopping center designer do that.
I was just making sure there was somebody in the
It's horrible.
shadows back there.
some
Okay.
configurations are better than others.
Thank you for your patience.
Yes. When I saw what was on the docket tonight, I thought, I can't reverse this, but I really want to.
We wanted you to.
Yeah.
It's usually not this long. And sometimes it's 20 minutes, like the whole meeting's 20 minutes.
You know, if Emer found out that she was representing them, they'd be pissed.
If what?
If Emer knew that somebody was representing her, making them look like that.
I just said the same thing.
Come back into session.
All right, moved back into session by Mr. Treves.
I'll second that.
All right, seconded by Ms. Ross. All right, I think we're fine. Okay. All right, so we have 3 cases ahead of us. They're all items of new business. Without further ado, the next case is case number VA 25-17. So this request is for the property at 3260 Westbrook Place. The applicant owner is Gregory and Holly Wilson. The zoning district is single-family plan residential, and the applicant is requesting a variance to allow the height of an existing fence to be, that is surrounding a pool, to be 4 feet tall instead of the required 5 feet, as specified in section 21.05C of the Orange Township zoning resolution. The subject property located at 3260 Westbrook Place within McCammon Chase subdivision, and as stated, owned currently by Gregory and Holly Wilson. Township staff became aware of the property following a complaint regarding an unfinished section of the fence. This concern was brought to the homeowner's attention, and the section was promptly completed to fully enclose the pool. During discussions with the homeowner regarding pool fencing requirements, it was confirmed that the existing 4-foot tall fence does not meet the required 5-foot height and therefore necessitates a variance. The pool location and the fence were originally approved by township staff on October 16, 2023, under permit number 2023-729, as shown in exhibit number 3. So for the surrounding area, the north zoning is a single-family plan residential district, and that theme carries on all 4 sides or in all 4 directions. For the land uses, to the north is Westbrook Place and single-family homes. To the south is McCammon Chase HOA-owned open space. To the east is single-family homes, and to the west is the Abbey Knoll Drive right-of-way with single-family homes. So that aerial view shows the general location in the neighborhood, right off of Westbrook Place, and at the intersection, it's a corner lot of Westbrook Place and Abbey Knoll Drive. All right, for staff review, this is a fence height variance request for section 21.05. Just to, you see the standard in front of you, but it requires that the pool be fully enclosed by a 5-foot tall fence. So an already constructed fence measuring 4 feet in height encloses the property's rear yard. The applicant is requesting a 1-foot height variance from the required 5 feet to allow for the fence to remain as built, representing an approximately 20% variance from the required height. The Exhibit 1 following is fairly illustrative, and it is highlighting the existing fence. The non-highlighted section between the highlights is a combination of wall and railing, and you'll see that in the site photos. That will be a better descriptor. Speaking of which, site photo number 1, showing the pool with the auto cover. These are staff-taken photos. The applicant also supplied additional photos if we wanted to peruse those. Site photo number 2 is that wall and railing combination, which does exceed the required 5 feet tall. And then site photo number 3 shows that rear portion of fence as highlighted, again, is 4 foot tall, not 5 feet. All right. And then we have a exhibit number 3 showing the originally approved permit. There was a revision that was filed simply to change the orientation of the pool and all within the required setbacks. So the pool, that's what you saw in exhibit number 1, or in the first site photo, is more
90 degrees.
longitudinal.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, latitudinal. It's east-west now. So that is the only change. And this board analysis is the general area variance criteria for consideration with example motions to follow. That's all I have.
Thank you. Please.
So good evening. I've been sworn in. I'm Greg Wilson. I'm at 3260 Westbrook Place. And as stated, we're here for a fence variance due to the fact that our fence is 4 feet height. It was an existing fence. We moved into the house about 4 years ago, and that fence was already existing. We knew we wanted to put in a pool. So, given our location on Westbrook and Abbey Knoll, we felt like an auto cover was, the way to go, just because, again, it's a high traffic area, and just for overall safety. So we felt like between the fact that we have fence and auto cover, it's kind of like a dual layer security that we have on that. We have our own children, and there are neighborhood children that we take that very seriously. Just a couple of notes around the fence. So it is a 48-inch fence. There is a lot of mature landscaping around that too. So in many areas, there's kind of like a dual layer with trees sitting in front of that fence. As Eric mentioned, a portion of that is retaining wall and railing that does exceed the 48 inches. It has self-closing gates, and the fence is a non-climbable design, meaning that the poles are, vertical. It's not a very easy one to get over. Again, the auto cover, it has a lockbox with a key to it, so you can't open it unless you have a key for it. We are doing evolving landscaping as well, just to make sure we're trying to do some privacy and things like that with those trees. And then also the fence, for the most part, is a healthy distance away from the pool itself, so it's kind of further out. As seen on the photo, there is one direct neighbor to the east, but other than that, it's that McCammon Chase kind of green space, and then there's a road on the west side and the north side that the neighbors are far away. There's no real direct neighbor except that one on the east side. So we kindly ask today for you to consider our request to accept the 48 inches, which doesn't represent a large deviation from the existing current requirement. Our concerns, honestly, if this is not approved, we'd have to rip up a fence. It could impact the mature landscaping. Abbey Knoll is a very, a lot of people walk down it. I'd hate to kind of disrupt that, quite honestly. And additionally, again, as I stated, with the auto cover and the fence, we feel like it's a very safe space. We do thank you for your time this evening to hear about our request. And let us know if you have any questions, please.
Okay.
I have a couple questions. So I think, Eric, you said this came to your attention because there was a spot that didn't have fencing, so it wasn't completely enclosed.
Correct, yeah.
It is now.
It is, yeah. There were
It
three
is now.
sections along the retaining wall. It's on the very back part that we were trying to get the landscaping where we wanted it to be. We hadn't quite yet decided, what we were trying to do. So obviously that accelerated this, which is a good thing, but yeah,
Okay.
we were just trying to end the decision process.
And then my other question was, so in the plan that was approved, was that you guys who submitted that?
The original plan?
Yeah.
That
Or
was
that
the-
was
that
the
was the pool
previous
builder.
owner?
Oh, I'm sorry.
What, the exhibit 3 that was approved before, is that you or?
That was the original, that was the pool builder submitting that, and because at
Okay.
that point in time, we felt like we were gonna go with that orientation, so.
Oh, okay, so that's why
Yeah.
the orientation's different?
Yes.
Okay, so that was approved with a different pool orientation, but it was approved with 5-foot fences or 4-foot fences?
I think it said 60 inches in that
Okay.
photo, yeah.
So, but you guys put in 4-foot fences?
It was already in, like, the fence had been there for years
Okay.
before we were there, so.
Okay, but
yeah.
the plan that was approved had 5-foot
The
fences?
plan was, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So we, obviously, there's no precedence, but I know we've seen several cases over the years, and I've heard a lot of different things. And one of the issues that we talk about with these pool covers is they're awesome, but they're awesome if they're used as you expect. And you could have, especially, I have teenage kids as well, someone could leave it open. So someone has to close it and lock it. Someone can leave it open, and then you're at risk. So they're great, but they're not foolproof.
Yeah.
So that gives me a little hesitation.
May I state my name and address? Holly Wilson, 3260 Westbrook, and I have been sworn in. So I very much can understand your concern for that. I will say a taller fence is not necessarily foolproof either. So I don't know that that would be the answer.
Other questions?
I don't think so.
Another point too that we did consider would be adding a decorative piece across the fence, which I do think I don't know that neighbors would love that aesthetic, but we would most likely try that before we take out the fence and risk damage to the trees. Obviously, the neighbors love the trees. We would hate to take out the trees. But would we do that in order to get the proper fencing in? Of course. We also don't want to necessarily be monitored. Oh, your cover is open. Here's another anonymous complaint. So I guess at some point we would have to say, that does cross a bit of a line, in my opinion. Because of course I may be inside and that pool may be open, but I have a right to do that. That is our yard. So I don't need to be watched. The trees near the sidewalk do they do create a barrier, which Greg said, it's a second layer. So for someone to get through those trees, to get over the fence, they're really going out of their way. And I understand that can happen, but we can also show you the measurements for how much space is between the ground and the fence. Nobody's gonna be crawling underneath that. Nobody's gonna slip through. So I think those are all things to take into consideration.
I mean, I don't think there's any rules about covers being open or closed, so I wasn't implying anyone monitor you. I was just saying in the past, there's no rule about that. I was just saying in the past, as we've discussed it, it's one of the points a former board member brought up, and I completely agree with it.
For sure.
So your 2023 drawing where you have a 60-inch black aluminum fence, that fence wasn't put in because there was an existing 4-foot fence further out from the pool. But there was an intention to put a 5-foot fence inside the 4-foot fence?
So to be honest, when we, since we had the auto cover, we weren't quite sure, they were like, you need to work with the township or whatever. And we had the township out here. It was last summer. And they saw where we were at and they said, I was like, it's 48 inches. They're like, we're not concerned, you have the auto cover. And if someone complains, then put a variance in. That was to my mouth, to my ears.
Who said that?
The inspector.
Sounds like it might have been Delaware Building Department,
I
because
was
Delaware
gonna
Building
say.
Department does manage other
it
things.
doesn't sound
not
like
the
Eric.
fence. Yeah. So we, in terms of an inspection, this was prompted by someone who remained anonymous in the neighborhood who had reached out to the zoning department, and that was the reason, as stated in the staff report, that we followed up with the homeowner about the gap in the fence. And then from there, I'm trying to remember if you did an inspection, Philip, or how that came to be to confirm it.
I inspected the site and noticed the gap in the fence, and then in discussing with the owners, we discussed that it ended up being 4 feet instead of 5 feet. And so from there, we decided that a variance would be necessary.
But there's no concern that this was what was approved and it's slightly, I mean, other than the fence, but
They already
new
went through-
orientation and
They
stuff.
already got a revision for reorienting it. I'm trying to remember when that was approved,
Okay,
but. yeah.
okay. So all we're weighing in on today is
the fence.
The fence height.
Correct.
Any other questions? Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. Based upon factors and testimony given this evening, I move to approve case number VA 25-17 for the property located at 3260 Westbrook Place, Lewis Center, Ohio, for a variance from section 21.05C of the Orange Township zoning resolution, allowing for the height of the existing fence surrounding the pool to be 4 foot rather than the required 5 foot in area zoned single-family planned residential.
I'll second.
Motion to approve made by Mr. Pack, seconded by Mr. Treves. Those voting, Mr. Treves,
Yes.
Ms. Ross,
No.
Mr. Pax,
Yes?
Ms. Neff,
No.
and Mr. McCoy.
No.
All right. That variance is not approved.
All right, well, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
All right, well, we have 2 more cases ahead of us. All right, I will switch to our next case and staff report, and that is case number VA 25-18. This is for the property at 4663 Sanctuary Drive, Westerville, Ohio, zip code 43082. The applicant and owner is Angela Sillis. The zoning for this property is single-family planned residential district. So for summary, the applicant is requesting an area variance from rezoning case 12-0223, Sanctuary at the Lakes, to allow for a new retaining wall on the west side of the property to encroach 5 feet and 8 inches into the 35-foot rear yard setback, and for a second retaining wall on the east side of the property to encroach 2 feet 0 inches into the 35-foot rear yard setback, as well as for this retaining wall to encroach 2 feet and 6 inches into the 12-foot 6-inch side yard setback. The site currently contains a concrete patio with deck above it, along with landscaping beds surrounding the patio, which slope down towards the rear yard. The applicant has noted that there are settling issues which are causing part of the patio to sink, photos included within the application. The applicant indicated that the intention of the new walls is to stabilize the backyard area against the house and extend the patio area with pavers several feet into the yard from the present location. The applicant is working with a civil engineer with regard to the design of the walls. The property is currently owned by Angela and Marco Sillis. So for the surrounding area, in all 4 directions, the zoning district is single-family planned residential district, and the land use includes, to the north, single-family residences, to the south, single-family residences and Sanctuary Drive, and then to the east and west, the land uses are also single-family residences. There's the aerial view, a little bit east of the I-71 corridor off of Africa Road. And then zoomed in view, you see that property that has the home abutting the treat area with the sloping hill to the rear. Okay, the staff review, 3 variances for the proposed retaining walls, again, to stabilize the rear yard. First area variance from rezoning case 12-223, Sanctuary and Enclave at the Lakes, is the minimum rear yard setback of 35 feet for retaining wall number 1, which is located in upcoming exhibit number 1, will encroach 5 feet and 8 inches into the 35-foot rear yard setback. This is a roughly 16% variance request from the rezoning cases mentioned above. Area variance number 2, from of course, the same rezoning case, for the minimum rear yard setback of 35 feet, retaining wall number 2, as labeled in the upcoming exhibit, will encroach 2 feet and 0 inches into the 35-foot rear yard setback. This is a roughly 6% variance request from the aforementioned rezoning case. Area variance number 3, from the same rezoning case, Sanctuary and Enclave at the Lakes, is a minimum side yard setback of 12.5 feet per side. So retaining wall number 2, also labeled in the upcoming exhibit, will encroach 2 feet and 6 inches into the 12.5 foot side yard setback. This is a 20% variance request from rezoning case Sanctuary and Enclave at the Lakes. All right, so your 2 retaining walls are labeled accordingly. Retaining wall number 1 to the west and retaining wall number 2 to the east. You can see they're approximately both in a line with each other, but they are delineated, or I should say separated, by a proposed stairwell that will taper to the lower section of the rear yard. And we do have some site photos that will be useful upcoming as well. Exhibit number 2 is just the site plan without measurements, and exhibit number 3 is a zoomed in detailed view that includes the I guess the full extent of the proposal. You can see other landscape elements, including new plantings and walking path, as well as paver patio that will be a larger footprint than the existing patio beneath the second floor deck. For exhibit number 4, that's just a even further zoomed in view. And then those site photos, we edited to include a line that denotes the approximate retaining wall location that's proposed. And, well, pardon me, the left side with the cones represents the retaining wall location. The right side with the yellow line actually denotes the setback line. So apologies. The left side, again, is that proposed retaining wall location. And site photo number 2, it's simply looking the opposite direction with that other retaining wall on the east side denoted by the cone, and then the yellow line comes across denoting the rear setback line. And then the last photo is to facing east, which shows the side setback, approximate side setback, and that cone you can see is denoting the end portion of the east retaining wall. So, all right, so there are those 3 variance requests for your consideration. Retaining wall number 1, with the 1 variance being the rear setback, and retaining wall 2 with 2 variances, 1 being the rear setback, the other being the side setback.
Eric, can you remind me, does it matter if the retaining wall is or is not on concrete?
Retaining wall, it depends on if it's defined as a structure.
Yes.
And in this case, I guess the permanence of it has footers. It is a structural element retaining earth. So I believe in this case the applicant can confirm how the foundation is, but it is determined to be a structure. In most cases, any retaining wall is going to be a structure.
Gotcha. Okay. Just clarify.
Yes.
Applicant?
You can lower that. There you go.
Thank you. I'm Angela Sillis.
You didn't put it back.
I reside at 4663 Sanctuary Drive in Westerville, Ohio, 43082. Thank you.
Mary.
So Eric did a good job of explaining what I'm looking for. I'll just add a little bit more detail. So we have lived in the home for 7 years. It is approximately 11 years old. When we moved in, the deck was already cattywampus, and I had to have it fixed. And the neighbors to the west of me told me that the prior owner, who only lived there 4 years, was constantly having problems with the deck due to the soil underneath it. Okay, so I've already fixed the deck, and looking at the footers that I replaced 7 years ago under the deck, they're already shifting. Okay, behind my home in the woods are very large walnut trees. and they fall and the critters go wild and they capture them and they dig into the hill, plant them, and then in the spring they dig them back up. So you see, I'm constantly I put more mulch, it just disappears. So a few months ago, I had someone come out to do some work at my home. He's starting his own home inspection business. I said, well, why don't you just inspect stuff while you're at it to tell me if there's something else that needs to be done. So he took one look at the patio and he said, you got a problem there because it's literally starting to crack in half and the back half is shifting towards going down the hill. I had then hired a structural engineer to come out and do a structural inspection, and the first words out of his mouth were, "This is a hot mess." Okay, I have had several contractor vendors come out to take a look at it, and they were frightened and left without offering to give me a bid. So it is clear to me that something needs to be done to protect not only the patio backyard, which is literally like not even 15 feet from my home, but the home itself, because eventually this stuff is going to just keep eroding and going down into the abyss. So I kindly ask for your consideration to put in walls to protect from further erosion and to stabilize the area.
Where do the steps go?
Oh, so the idea is that when the wind blows, people's trash ends up in the woods behind my house. So I need an access so that I could get down there to clean it up.
Oh, wow.
That may be all I needed, but hold on. Okay. So you own, it's a long night, own a decent amount into the woods there a little bit, based on that over.
Not that I could use it because it's a giant briar
But just,
patch.
so the steps are just access to the
Yeah, steps to get down.
most reaches of your property line. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Mainly so I can clean up the trash that blows there every time the wind blows on trash day.
This picture shows it fairly well.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was, after I'd asked the question, I was trying to find that picture.
No questions.
No question.
Yeah.
Good.
Someone want to make a motion?
I will make a motion. I think it's going to be beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
Based on these factors, I move to approve case number VA 2518 for property located at 4663 Sanctuary Drive, Westerville, Ohio, seeking an area variance from rezoning case number 12-0223 Enclave and Sanctuary at the Lakes to allow for a retaining wall referred to as retaining wall number 2.
Oh, that can be number one, I'm
That
sorry.
would be
Retaining
number
wall,
one.
Number one.
Okay.
Yep.
Referred to as retaining wall number 1 in Exhibit 1 of the staff report to encroach 15 feet and 8 inches into,
Five.
No,
5 feet, 8 inches.
sorry,
No, I just.
It's getting
making sure-
late.
Making sure it's,
Thank you.
making sure
I'm
it's
sorry,
correct on the
guys.
record.
to encroach 5 feet and 8 inches into the 35-foot rear yard setback in an area zone single-family residential district.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mrs. Neff, seconded by Ms. Ross. Those voting, Mr. Trevs?
Yes.
Ms. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Pax?
Yes.
Ms. Neff?
Yes.
And Mr. McCoy?
Yes.
Motion carries. Variance is approved. So that's all?
We got two more.
We've got two more.
Yep.
The
And then
first
we have the
wall.
other
Yeah,
wall.
the western wall.
Yes. So, number one, the woods are growing up into the yard, and it is extremely steep. And there's no way that I can get onto that side to pull up the weeds. So what I'm looking to do is to create some cohesion across the backyard, so it looks like it all goes together, and to, on that side, level the yard slightly so that it's sloping down a little bit, but not like this, because I cannot weed on a slope that.
And that's wall
steep.
2.
That's the other wall on the east side of
East
the
side.
property. Yes, and I've talked to the neighbors on that side about like how far the wall could go towards the property line. And we both thought that 10 feet would be a good amount to allow if, for instance, one of the trees in the back starts rotting or gets hit by lightning, and we need to send a vendor down to take a tree down and haul the stuff back up. We felt that 10 feet would be perfect to allow for, you know, things to go up and down. And then that part of the yard, that 10 feet would be graded a little bit, just to make it a little bit more easy to get down into the woods. And then the rest of it, the rest of the property between where the stairs are and then the 10 feet from the property line would be more leveled out, like I said, so that it creates more of a yard as opposed to the slope that has like poison ivy and every cotton picking horrible thing known to man that's growing up with thorns. And, you know, I might have the Brer Rabbit move in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have issues with that.
And I also wanted to bring up, for this wall, there was public comment referred to by the adjacent neighbor, 4685, and they, if you want me to read the comment, I'm happy to.
No issue, though.
Yeah, no issue, no, full support.
Okay.
Well, in essence, that'll support what you're trying to do.
I'm sorry.
In essence, that will support what you're trying to do with the first retaining wall.
That's right. They, when I was showing them what was going on and explained what I wanted to do and showed the pictures, they're like, oh my God, that's gonna look beautiful. And their only concern was just to make sure that the drainage went, like took any water out in the woods and didn't drain towards their yard.
Makes sense.
I'm good to make a motion if you guys are okay.
Yeah.
Based on these factors, I move to approve case number VA-25-18 for property located at 4663 Sanctuary Drive, Westerville, Ohio, seeking an area variance from rezoning case number 12-0223, Enclave and Sanctuary at the Lakes, to allow for a retaining wall referred to as retaining wall number 2. Okay. In Exhibit 1 of the staff report, to encroach 2 feet and 0 inches into the 35-foot rear setback in an area zoned single-family residential district.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Ms. Neff, seconded by Ms. Ross. Those voting, Mr. Trevs?
Yes.
Ms. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Pax?
Yes.
Ms. Neff?
Yes.
And Mr. McCoy?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, especially
One
since
more.
you.
We got one more to give
Got one
you.
more to give you. Hold
One
on.
at a time, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
I'll
thank
go
you.
for it. And then I'm going to be quiet. Based on these factors, I move to approve case number VA-25-18 for property located at 4663 Sanctuary Drive, Westerville, Ohio, seeking an area variance from rezoning case number 12-0223 Enclave and Sanctuary at the Lakes to allow for a retaining wall referred to as retaining wall number 2 in Exhibit 1 of the staff report, to encroach 2 feet and 6 inches into the 12-foot 6-inch side yard setback in an area zone single-family residential district.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion made by Ms. Neff, seconded by Ms. Ross. Those voting, Mr. Trevs?
Yes.
Ms. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Pax?
Yes.
Ms. Neff?
Yes.
And Mr. McCoy?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Good luck.
Good luck with your
I
project.
wish you sweet dreams when you finally make it.
Thank you.
Well, that's 3 of 4.
Get out of here and make sure your house doesn't sink into the
I know, right? That one picture was making me a little nervous.
Yeah, with the poles
Yes,
almost off of the concrete. Yeah.
Yes.
You don't see that much here.
I was like, whoa.
All right,
Just
well,
see that deck
last
off the
one.
back.
now that
I
we're
know.
moving the momentum forward with this meeting
do it.
timing here, we have our last case on the docket, which is VA 25-19, and that is for the property located at 2716 Big Sur Drive, property is owned by William Lowe and Kristen Otenberger, and the applicant is Polaris Pools. So this request entails the applicant requesting variance to allow the height of it's going to sound familiar, the existing fence surrounding a pool to remain at 4 feet rather than the required 5 feet in height as specified in section 21.05C of the Orange Township zoning resolution. This represents a 1 foot variance or a 20% request. The project involves the installation of a 14-foot by 28-foot pool with an automatic cover and pool deck. The existing fence is on the property, or the existing fence on the property is a 48-inch tall wooden fence with metal panels, and you'll see some photos upcoming. We stated the location of the owner, so for the surrounding area in all 4 directions, the zoning district is single-family plan residential. And to the north, the land use is Big Sur Drive, single-family homes, and in the other 3 directions is single-family homes as well. So fairly centrally positioned in the neighborhood here, 2716 Big Sur for the zoomed-in aerial. There is an existing patio with landscape beds, and as stated, that existing predominantly wooden fence. So we'll get to those photos and the plans here. The staff review for the fence height is from that 21.05, which we just talked about and 2 cases ago. And so the existing wooden fence measures 4 feet tall in height, which does not meet the requirement of section 21.05 for the 5 feet tall fence. The applicant therefore is requesting a 1 foot tall variance, 1 foot variance for the required 5 foot tall fence, I should say a variance from the requirement that the fence be 5 feet tall. So they are intending to keep the fence as it's constructed. This request represents approximately 20% reduction from the required fence height. Proposed pool location and the deck meet the required 12-foot side setbacks and the 25-foot rear setbacks for the Shores Planned Residential District. So moving into Exhibit 1, you can see the plans as developed by the pool company. This would be more towards the side setback. However, it would be in compliance with setback requirements for the pool itself. For site photo number 1, this is an existing gate, and that does measure, staff was able to use the wheel to measure it right at 4 feet tall to the top of the framed out panel. So those posts are even taller than 4 feet. Site photo number 2 was received from the applicant, and it shows the example of the current fencing with a wire mesh kind of inlay or inset wire mesh to really, I guess, those are much finer gaps, of course. So as additional barrier that is attached to the wooden fence. And then there's a measurement from the applicant which shows right at 48 inches tall to the top of the 3rd horizontal member of the fence. And then that takes us in the board analysis for an area variance with your example motions. If you have any questions at this time, please let me know.
I'm assuming that that metal mesh is on the interior side of that fence
From
to
what
the
we
property?
observed, correct. It is on the inside.
Okay.
Applicant?
Hello, my name is Wade Scott Lowe, property owner, have been sworn in. I'm just here to answer any questions. Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Just trying to avoid putting a fence in a fenced yard. I'd rather have the automatic pool cover. We have 3 little chihuahuas that are, you know, our kids that I want to keep safe. They're mad. They're not eating carfanias yet, and I grill for them at night, but yeah, so I just figured that'd be much safer than having a fence within a fence. I mean, nothing's full roof, fences, people climb, gates open, so.
Can you tell us a little bit about how old the fence is and what type of locking, is it a self-locking gate, just give us a little more information.
Yeah, it's a split rail fence. It was there when we bought it. I think we moved in there 2016. So to its age, I don't know. When I got there, again, I have the small dog, so I went ahead and put, you know, the wire all the way around it with pressure treated wood on the bottom to make sure it doesn't have any, you know, can't get up. Because again, everything was to keep them in. A split rail, some of the rails need replaced. I mean, the fence is older for sure. So, but again, I just thought automatic pool cover would be much safer, more secure, especially the pool's hardly going to get used.
And the gate?
In my opinion. The gate, there's two. There's one on one side of the house. This is a 3-foot gate. It just has a regular hitch lock to it. I mean, you know, they lift it up, slide it over, and put it down. And then there's a double gate in the one with the picture that you saw. Same locking mechanism.
Means you received 2 letters
Yes.
of concern,
Those
it
are
looks like?
before you,
Or 2
correct.
emails?
Yep.
Okay.
And Eric, is there something in the code about the type of gate and a mechanism on it?
Insofar as what's read in 21.05, there's nothing that states that it self-closes.
Okay.
I can read it word for word. So, said wall or fence shall not be less than 5 feet in height and may include the wall of a building or other structures. It shall be of construction as to not allow uncontrolled access under or through the wall or fence, and shall be maintained in good condition with all entry or access points having functioning locks. Inflatable or collapsible pools that do not, that's the
Okay.
relevant section for you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Not that it impacts our vote, but does the HOA, have you already been through the HOA? Does your HOA have rules about this?
I'm not sure. I emailed the HOA though, and you know, did the application for it. Told them we're going to the area.
You can come up and speak.
On my letter, I wrote the HOA and meant that was, I should have said.
Ma'am, I'm so
Ma'am.
sorry.
Oh,
Because I called.
oh, it's okay.
We
You have
need
public
you up
comment.
here.
I'm sorry. I am Sharon Cook.
Yeah.
No, into the mic.
You'll have to come up here. Sorry.
And this is the whole thing. We don't want him to do it, but I like him. He's my friend.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
so,
regardless,
sorry.
The HOA is aware and they're waiting.
Yes.
They know we're
and
doing a variance for the
I
fence.
wrote the HOA and they said that they don't have
Ma'am.
Okay, hold on one second. We have to have you say your name and address into the
And
mic,
into the mic.
just for our recording.
I am
Thank you.
Sharon Cook. I'm at 2724 Big Sur Drive, and I swore in when I came in, like with everybody else.
Thank you.
I was concerned. 'cause
Don't
I
move
thought-
away, please.
Scott's right over me there. Anyway, I was concerned about not having an adequate fence next door. We have no children, we have grandchildren, and I've sold real estate in the past, and I said to Scott, I'm concerned that I know you're gonna have a nice cover for that pool. However, to go to sell this property, and if I have people come in with children, they're gonna look over and say, that's a chicken wire fence, and that wood fence was there when the previous owners, we moved in 2005, that wood fence was there then. So that's how old that much of that split rail fence is. And I just said, it's gonna require constant maintenance, and I'm concerned about those kinds of things. Anyway, and then I thought, when I said about the homeowners association, I did contact them, and they said, you folks are the ones who have the requirement for the aluminum 5-foot tall black fences. They're all over our neighborhood. I mean, you could throw stones and hit those fences in our neighborhood. There's so many pools.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. That's
I knew you read, I told
That's
you
helpful.
that, I wrote that wrong.
I guess the main concern that I have, frankly, on this also, the difference between the previous applicant and fence and this fence is the horizontal rails are basically ladder rungs, and a child can easily crawl up those. That's just a major issue, and it's that, so versus your vertical pickets on your traditional black fence, like aluminum fence that she's referencing. So that is a major concern that I would have to leaning toward denial on this just because of that fact.
I have the same concern, the condition, and that it says "climb me" on it. And we understand the protective covers, but our code is still the 5-foot fence, even if you have that, and it's only as good as the person who closes it every time. You would not want your pups in it, and we don't want a child in it.
Other questions?
You said it much better,
The
more
good news is we
eloquently
can get out
than
of
me.
here, so go ahead. Do you have any more questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Based on the factors discussed this evening, I move to deny case number VA-25-19 for the property located at 2716 Big Sur Drive, Lewis Center, Ohio, for the variance from section 21.05C of the Orange Township zoning resolution, allowing for the height of the existing fence surrounding a pool to be 4 feet tall rather than the required 5 feet in an area zoned single-family planned residential.
Second.
Second.
Oh, sorry.
Motion made by Mr. Pax,
I was
seconded
just
by
saying
Ms.
second,
Neff.
but you
Those
second.
voting, Mr. Trevs,
Yes.
and this is to deny. So you said yes to deny?
Yes.
Yep. All right. Mrs. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Pax?
Yes.
Ms. Neff?
Yes.
And Mr. McCoy?
Yes.
That motion carries, and the variance has been denied.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and sorry for the wait.
Sorry and good luck.
Well, we're just about there with our agenda.
Yeah.
Now, we did have minutes that went out, however, I did get comments from one of you, and thank you
I'm
for
really
looking at
sorry
those.
I didn't get to this.
So we can always plan on the next meeting for approval of those, so
Okay.
sounds like
Okay.
that's the will of the board.
I'm sure that you're always so good.
I did, this week has been crazy. I couldn't do it.
Well, that's all I had for every.
And I depend on her to do it, so.
I know, right?
I don't know one time that I. Those were some.
I'm just like, I know.
She slacks, and then I have to say, no, I can't do it.
I mean, with all this public
Just say I
testimony, can you
concur.
imagine reviewing the minutes from this tonight?
It's going to be a big.
Would like
Been
to
there,
adjourn?
done that a million
Yeah.
times.
Oh, yes.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes, I
All in
move that
favor?
we adjourn.
Okay.
All
Aye.
right, we're adjourned.
This meeting's adjourned.
And thank you very much.